Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey, here we are. It's the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on a Wednesday. Tyvis is here. G. Bush is here.
Bull's mad. Bull is mad at me and G because we got lives. Me and G have a thing called life that doesn't revolve around.
Wait a second.
This guy. That guy.
First of all, number one, Tyvis.
Dad, you know how it's dad's season? It was money season.
First of all, Tyvis. All G does is watch things all day.
Yeah,
so
right.
Well, okay.
However, and this is about, I was like, why didn't anybody watch the Johnny Football documentary? But then, initially, I was blaming you guys, but then I really blame Mike because Mike's the producer of the show.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I should have mandated it.
I actually got into the studio at like 10:57.
Latest you've ever come in.
Latest I've ever come in.
You must have just finished it.
Because I wanted to finish it this morning.
It was that good, huh?
No,
it was very good.
I've heard it was awful.
It was awful?
I heard it was terrible.
Now,
they didn't include enough Browns talk in there.
It's not about the Browns. It's about Johnny
homeless
Manziel.
Man. They said there's a lot of details, a lot of important
Don't listen
details
to Tony Grossi.
was
He's
left
a dope.
out. I'm just telling you what I read on the internet.
Don't listen to the internet.
You know how we say what the internet is saying?
Flip your water, will you?
What the internet is saying.
Yeah, Tyvis got the
flip
water.
some waters, will you?
He got the water sequestered over there.
Thank you. We got no cold waters?
And by the way,
my
God,
God.
is on a range today.
Hey, it's Anthony's birthday, by the way, so shout out Anthony.
Anthony, happy
26th
birthday, Anthony.
Now,
he
just turned 21.
Now, McNuggets.
You know, we got some $1 bills.
We're not trying to hear that. So you meaning to tell me?
Yeah.
Now, Adam the Bull didn't watch one thing. He ain't seen no summer league basketball. He ain't watching no snaps.
Summer league basketball.
He ain't watching none of that. He is not watching no two-a-day football. Training camp football don't count. And by the way, he's already said earlier this season, he said this was the guy who said, I'm not watching the Cavs regular season.
No. He's come back and he's
changed my mind on that.
He's watching everything now.
That's all fair.
Everything
That
now.
is all fair.
But now there's a 24-hour mandate to
We
watch
have
a
to.
documentary
It's Johnny
for who?
that you
By
just
the way,
released.
we'll get into it.
For the
We'll get
people
into
on
it
set.
more tomorrow. Earl's on the panel, and he's dying to talk about this. So we'll talk about it more tomorrow. I will say most of the stuff I heard was not surprising, actually.
Okay.
Factual.
Talking about that he don't
Except
watch
the one interesting thing out of that I wanted to mention real quick, it's not about the no video time. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
But the fact that this blew my mind. You know how we all talked about, he came from a rich family and blah, blah, blah? He didn't. His best friend made that up.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So I obviously worked in College Station for 3
Yeah.
years before. I had heard from everyone there that the money thing was real. I had sent some text out this morning. As soon as I get an answer, I will come trying to figure out what the actual truth to that is.
Okay, well, his friend in the interview, who's not his friend anymore.
They haven't talked since, which is why I'm curious.
Said that
to see how
he
it
made
is.
up that whole storyline that because Johnny was taking money for autographs.
How can you trust the word of that?
Bro, this is crazy.
Like that
The
one's
Manziel family, like I can tell.
By the way, I have no sympathy for Manziel any more than I would for anybody else who's got addiction problems, which is a level of sympathy.
Crazy.
But like,
On the
I don't
money
have any
thing-
more than I would have for other people.
Jay, I'll let you go one sec on the money thing. The Manziel family does own multiple Toyota dealerships all throughout Texas.
Well,
Like,
do they now or did they?
They
then?
did when I was there. It was the Manziel Toyota of.
All right. Well, I don't know. All I know is this
Navasota.
guy said he made it up. Maybe he's
Yeah, so
making up that he made
I'm
it up.
looking
I
into
don't know.
that. I'm truly looking. I'll get an answer
dive
from you
into
guys
that. We'll
tomorrow.
have it by tomorrow. Anyway.
He's a legend because he's the first quarterback that I've ever seen do it to that extent. Like this dude was he really rode it up to the wheels fell off. Like he was the first.
Give off.
He was a guy who was doing stuff receivers do.
Yeah.
He made receivers like the dude had a disguise.
You know who else did that? Ryan Tannehill.
No. No one has had a nose and glasses and mustache.
By the way, there's a clip in this where Josh Gordon says, "Johnny, you got to calm down."
Wow.
No, I'm making that
up.
I'm
about to say.
I
was over here like this.
Basically, we're to that point.
Dang.
But, I forgot how good he was in college, though. I had kind of forgotten that.
You talking about how he won the Heisman?
Yeah, I mean,
the guy won the Heisman.
He beat Alabama.
Yeah. Let me give you this.
It's crazy.
The reason we fell in love with him was the fact that it was a miniature-sized white guy embarrassing top-notch SEC black dudes. I have never seen no, for real. You get extra credit points for that.
You do.
Like if you a little small, like he looked like a little kid, and Nick Saban was on the sideline being like, I don't have no answers for him. And it was weird because he had this extra little gear where he was running around like it was in the street football, running around like this, and he was running away from top-notch SEC competition. I've never seen that before, and it just
crazy. I think everybody should watch the documentary. We'll talk a lot more about it tomorrow. It is pretty interesting. And the fact that they don't talk that much about the Browns, who cares? It's not about the Browns. It's about him.
I mean, I heard somebody was hating on the internet talking about it was a crack job done, crack pipe job out of his family and friends and agents. Doesn't even mention the Browns. Why the hell does it have to mention the Browns?
It did mention the Browns because he talked. I mean, talk about getting drafted. It doesn't bash the Browns really in any way.
Yeah. So why does it need to? They need to play a prevalent role in it. I just want to see how he was.
I don't think he came off good in it. So. He may have some redemption now. I don't know.
Sound like he was just Rob Gronkowski, but didn't have the study of habits.
Yeah, but you can't get away with that shit as a quarterback, as you know.
No, you cannot. So he's Kyler Murray.
Probably way worse than that. I'm sure Kyler Murray's doing some studying, right?
Yeah.
Some?
I have no idea. A lot of people say no.
I mean, Kyler Murray's at least had some success in the league. Johnny Manziel had none. He didn't even care. Go ahead, Mikey.
All right, so I actually got some fascinating news for you guys today.
Go ahead.
We now have a partnership with Fanatics.
Oh.
And you guys can help us out. And by you guys, I mean the people. The link on your screen.
Look at that.
Fanatics.com/UCSS. It's the Fanatics store. But if you use that link and make a purchase, you help us out. We get part of the money back from that purchase, and it is now one of our presenting sponsors of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. You could get some sweet Browns gear. You help yourself out. You look fly on Sundays. Plus, you help us out in the long run, and that's a win-win for everyone. So check them out at fanatics.com/UCSS. Anthony will drop the link in the chat. It's in the description of the YouTube video, and we're going to promote this a couple times a show for the next couple of weeks as we get ready for the start of football season. But fanatics.com/UCSS. Help yourself out. Help us out. It's a win-win for everybody. And with that, let's get into the show.
By the way, I'm gonna take folks behind the scenes because so Steve Becker was texting us in a group to see if my man Darryl Ryder, who's the Browns beat reporter for The Fan, would come on our show. And Earl was saying, well, maybe we'll try to get him. And Steve was saying, there's zero chance they're going to let him on, guys. I'm going to tell you this right now. The Fan is not going to let Darryl come on with us. Gee, you know that.
Oh, no, that's not happening.
There's zero chance. Darryl, all the guys from The Fan want to come on this show. Lima. I haven't talked to Ken about it, but he'd love to come on. Dustin, Nick, Jonathan, Darryl, they'd all love to come on. The station doesn't let them. It's unfortunate. It's petty, but that's what it is. So,
yeah, they got this called them 360 deals. They get the publishing, the merchandising,
you had these 360
touring
deals.
They have no freedom. No freedom. Whatsoever.
Yeah,
they let me come on the show.
See,
you don't work full time.
You're independent. You're independent.
You're an independent contractor.
You're independent.
Same as G. Bush, same as Earl.
We independent. Listen, I work for No Limit. I got distributing.
I'm like Dolph. I don't need no.
You got the distributing deal.
Independent.
Yeah, I'm independent. All I got to sell is 10,000, and I'm going. I just made me $1 million. I got to sell 10,000.
Rest in peace to Dolph, man. I'm independent.
Shout out to man. Out of here, stay independent. But a lot of cats say independent like they be thinking they're independent.
No,
you can't just pull off. Like you be asking them, hey, you want to come on, dog? You trying to come over on the podcast? They're like, I can't do that.
I'm not going to say who, But I was going to have one of the guys from the Fan, one of my friends from the Fan.
No names. No names.
I won't say who it was because I don't want to put him in a
Retribution.
But I wanted one of them to be on my TV podcast, which G has been on, which Mikey will be on today.
Has nothing to do with none of this.
Nothing to do with sports. On my TV podcast.
They didn't ask me.
And they wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let him come on with me. So that's how petty they're being. So anyway, then Daryl can't come on.
All right, well, with that news, let's get into the Browns here.
Yeah.
We talked injuries at the defensive line yesterday. The injuries continue to pile up for the Browns in training camp. None of their major stars have been banged up yet, at least that we know of. But
yes, they have. Isaiah Thomas is out, according to,
That's
You're right.
true. Earl was having a vigil for him yesterday.
Said the season's over with.
But we did learn, according to a Mary Kay report, that Jerome Ford, who's slated to be the backup running back to Nick Chubb this season.
Well, hold on. Before we get to Jerome Ford,
okay,
I'm going to ask Tyvus this. Yesterday, we talked about Isaiah Thomas. Who's the other guy who's hurt?
Alex Wright.
And Alex Wright.
Yeah.
I said on a scale of 1 to 10, how big a deal? G said 5. Actually, G was actually more panicked than Earl. Earl said 4. I said 1 on a scale of 1 to 10. How big a deal is it? What would you say?
That both of them is out?
Yeah.
Please say 6, just to make it safe.
No, be honest. He don't think it's 6. Come on.
2 or 3.
At most, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3. I mean, you want depth there, but you got you drafted guys, you brought guys in. I think they'll be fine. It's not like these guys was game breakers. Like Isaiah Thomas had a good preseason, but regular season he didn't do too much, and Alex Wright didn't do a lot in the regular season as well. So the only thing is you missing the experience, but you brought in some guys that have some experience.
He's got a mad look on his face.
I always ask y'all, like I ask you, like, does it bother you guys that none of their draft picks play?
Of course it does. It is funny to me, G, that a lot of people in this town, and I've been fair, fair enough, and even complimentary to Andrew Berry at times. But there's a lot of people in this town that talk about Andrew Berry as if he's like a sure thing GM.
What is wrong with him?
They just don't.
He's at best done a mediocre job.
They don't
What do you
play.
mean they don't play? So Greg Newsome ain't the starting guy? DPJ isn't on the contract
so let me give you
year?
this. So you got to think about it.
Jedrick Wills ain't a all.
Jed?
He left tackle.
Jedrick Wills.
Left tackle.
Oh my goodness! Like so.
Start left tackle. What you talking about?
So like
you said they didn't play. I'm just
He's talking about the front 7.
Greg Newsome. We'll get to those. Greg Newsome is a first round pick.
Yeah.
And technically he don't start.
That's not true. He starts base.
We know them Jedi mind tricks.
That's base personnel. If it's base personnel and it's 3 linebackers, he's the opposite corner of Denzel.
I feel who's gonna play more snaps? Him or Emerson?
Although he did draft Emerson too.
Oh no, Emerson's gonna play more snaps than him.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Who played more snaps last year?
Him.
I don't know about that. Can we look that up?
It's not true.
He's on the field and base personnel.
Can we look at that number? Can we pull that stat up?
I'm looking it up, but I'm 99% sure it's Emerson. Just ahead.
Why? Because he was hurt.
Hey, well, see, now you're walking it back. Andy, are you okay? You okay, Andy?
Okay, he got hurt.
You moonwalking. Now here's the thing. You got Jordan Elliott, 3rd round pick.
He was slotted as a starter.
Listen, I saw him start in the Hall of Fame game. That looks bad.
Didn't it?
Hey, G, real quick. Tyvus is actually right. Newsome played slightly more snaps than Emerson.
Can I get to the number?
Yeah, Newsome played 907. Emerson played 877.
You hate to see it. It's all right. Keep working, champ. Keep going, champ.
Tyvus needs some redemption after so.
Okay, so here's what we're saying. So he's splitting reps.
Who?
He's splitting reps. That's 900 and
Bro,
900.
I'm literally telling you right now, if they go base personnel with 3 linebackers, it's Denzel and Greg Newsome. So the only time Martin's coming in is if they're in 11
by the way,
or
guys,
10 personnel.
it doesn't matter because he
nickel.
drafted both those guys anyway.
So you'll give him credit for that. However, Isaiah Thomas doesn't play, or he's not going to play now.
Was he drafted or was he undrafted?
He's drafted.
7th round pick.
Okay, 7th round.
3rd round pick, right?
We splitting hairs. We talking about a 7th round pick.
Okay, well, Alex Wright is 3rd round pick.
Do you think Andrew Berry's done a good job drafting?
No.
Okay.
David Bell, Schwartz, they don't play. It's just rough, man. Now, here's the thing.
I think he's done a great job trading picks and getting what he needs.
Now, I do think
we are best in the business.
When it comes to if this
you trade that first pick away or that second round pick away, he's great. Whoever he got,
he's great at trades. Bam. He's great at trades. His trade game is on 100.
Yeah.
Well, that we'll find out for sure based on what Watson does this year because that was the biggest trade.
Yes,
I agree.
So
not that I would really blame him if Watson ended up not working out.
Nobody was mad. Nobody was mad at the trade because you needed to do something.
Well, some people were. Some of the Baker apologists. I certainly wasn't. I was going nuts about the trade.
If Deshaun didn't come with the baggage, a lot of people would have been like, I see why you did that.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course. The only people that were mad about it were the baggage people and the extreme Johnny Manziel Baker Mayfield.
I was about to say that documentary on your head.
I believe that the people that bring up the 3 first round draft picks is still Baker apologists. Like there's still it's still there. Like
it is what it is.
At this point, we talk about 3 first round picks, and then we're like, bro, but that was 2 years ago, and like we already on the cart. We're already on the plane right now. But here's what I will say. Is it catastrophic? No, because you got one of the best defensive ends and you got one of the best tandems, and you did a good job of getting Obo out there. So now you got 3 really, really good defensive ends. Okay, we've talked about Myles Garrett and how he slowed down at the end of the year. Zadarius Smith, who slowed down at the end of the year.
He was hurt.
He was hurt. Yeah, give you that. So that's part of slowing down.
Myles was hurt too.
Just part of slowing down. I need another.
Self-inflicted, but
I would feel much better if they go out and say, give me a proven defensive end that's played some snaps.
Like who?
Melvin Ingram. We talked about.
I like Melvin Ingram. I like him. Find me.
Is he a fit in
Melvin
what they do?
I feel like Melvin is more. I mean, it would work because I mean nowadays these RNs are standing up, so it'll work.
Right.
But he is up there in age.
I mean,
what are you saying? How are you using Melvin Ingram?
I just want another rush in.
Okay, so you just.
I don't even. I'm not base.
For what?
I don't care about the
1 out of 3 snaps.
That's all I want.
Oh, okay,
As a 4th pass rusher.
I
mean, he could fit that role.
If he still got the motor, it can still go. Yeah.
That's
Did he just win the Super Bowl last year? Was he with the Chiefs, or did he go to Pittsburgh?
I can't remember.
Melvin Ingram?
Yeah.
He was with the Dolphins last year.
Oh, Dolphins. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch this now to running back. Because you had some, backup, not useless pieces, but guys who were not super important that got hurt on the defensive line. Now, maybe even a guy who's a little more important because Jerome Ford was probably solidly the second running back on this team. Now, I said the other day that I think they were going to use a few different guys in different times. Jerome Ford, there you go, from Mary Kay, says the injury will miss some time, whatever that means. His status for the team's season opener is in doubt.
Oh, hell no.
Well, listen.
No.
Listen, I know y'all don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Oh, boy.
Okay? I'm not hitting the panic button at all, okay?
Zero?
Nah. And I'm not on the go get Zeke thing. And I love you, Zeke. I love you, Zeke, but right now, this ain't the time. I want Zeke I need to start running back to go down for Zeke to get that bag, Zeke. That's why I want you to wait. But that's not with the Brown situation. If Jerome Ford isn't available, they'd be fine. I think Demetric Felton is perfect for exactly what Jerome Ford does. Jerome Ford is a guy that catches the ball out the backfield. What is Demetric Felton? He actually played in the slot. Jerome Ford is a good returner. What Demetric Felton do? He's a good returner. I mean, we've seen him in the Hall of Fame game. So I don't think it's necessarily time to hit the panic button because Demetric Felton can do a lot of the things that you asked Jerome Ford to do or that you were going to utilize him for anyways. If this becomes more of a passing attack, you want to pass him running back there, Demetric Felton is there for that. And John Kelly has shown, through many years that he's at least dependable and reliable to at least run between the tackles and get some tough yardage. If that offensive line is as good as we think it will be, then it doesn't matter who's at running back. We seen Dearness Johnson back there. He had a solid game. We seen running backs that was third string come in there and have solid games behind this offensive line. So I don't think it's necessarily time to hit the panic button. And plus, Nick Chubb is healthy. Nick Chubb's going to take a lot of snaps anyways. I think if you put Demetric Felton in there, he still can do exactly what you need Jerome Ford to do. It's not time to hit the panic button, not over no running back, especially when you're trying to pass the ball.
G. Bush.
Boy.
Dude, hilarious, man.
I look at this and I'm sitting there and taking when I figure that it's a hamstring, and this is what I've been telling people all along, man. When we be saying we don't be need nobody, we don't need this people, we don't need that person, what be happening really is you projecting people to be healthy the whole season. Now, if you look at it, the depth that you thought you had or you thought you was really doing your thing with, Jerome Ford was going to be a big part of what they want to do offensively. Now you look at you lose your depth at both defensive end spots. You've lost some depth, and we haven't even touched nobody yet. We ain't played a preseason game. These guys will probably be out to game 2 or 3, maybe 4, when you're talking about this in terms of what they're doing. And I just would like to let people know our first 4 games is against division rivals. Mm-hmm. These guys cannot afford to come out here talking about injuries the first 4. The Browns, they were so banged up. Well, listen, you're going to get fired, bro. So my thing is this. Ask yourself, do you want to hedge your bet and use the resources that you have? Because if you don't and you lose these games, there's no reason, there's no sense in you trying to act like, hey, I was just trying to be fiscally responsible. No, bro, this is it.
Let me ask you a question.
That's it.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Who are you lobbying for them to go get at running back? And because you seem nervous about this.
No, I'm talking about a holistic approach.
Oh, okay.
So
this ain't got nothing to do with the running back.
But do you want them to sign a veteran back?
I would sign. I'm definitely signing a veteran back.
Who?
I wouldn't really want Zeke just because I want somebody with a little bit. Oh, okay, we got some people up here. Okay, all right. No, I'm Leonard Fournette. No, we can't do that. Okay. You're a middle guard.
Yeah.
Zeke, your face, your facial hair is too heavy. Darrell Henderson, Kareem Hunt already signed.
No, he didn't.
He actually didn't sign.
Out,
yeah. There was no buzz on his name for months.
He actually got a meeting
yesterday.
With the Colts.
There was a report he was signed with the Saints, and then at the last second, apparently the Colts called his agent and said, "Come to Indianapolis, we'll offer you more money."
Well, the Jonathan Taylor situation in Kamara.
Yeah, right.
I like what Bull just said. Bull said, "Put some buzz on my name."
Right.
He had no buzz on his name.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, Zeke, wait, baby.
By the way,
just wait.
Listen, I agree with the point of what you said that I don't care about the fiscal responsibility, any of that shit. I'm with you on there.
Yeah.
But I agree with everything Ty has said before that. He's dead on the money.
Thank you.
We do not need Zeke on this team. He is not a fit. Zeke's strengths at this point is goal line and 4th down. We got Nick Chubb. We don't need Zeke Elliott. Plus, as you said, Zeke still thinks he's a starter. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be happy being Nick Chubb's backup. He might say he is, but he won't be. Mm-hmm. He's not that. He's an alpha dog. He's not going to want to come here and be the number 2 guy. I don't know if there's an opportunity for him to be a number 1 guy, but as you say, if a starter gets hurt somewhere, then maybe he has that opportunity. I don't see that here. I'm fine if they want to bring in another back, but bring in another young guy that's somewhere from another team that maybe you see. But I think Demetric Felton, I agree with you. I think he's got the same type of skill set as Ford. I also like what I've seen from Kelly in the preseason. I think he's only had like 30 NFL carries. But none of these guys interest me. I certainly don't want Kareem Hunt back. Dalvin Cook's going to be too much money. He's not
Dalvin Cook is the only guy I see on this list that would be like, ooh. Like, you're going through a bargain bargain sale, you'd be like, ooh, let me see this. Like, $10.99.
Yeah. I just think eventually somebody's going to pay him a good amount of money.
Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
All right? The way things have been trending in Cleveland, Elijah Moore has been in the backfield anyway. So that's a mismatch for anybody that's checking him anyway.
Doing that Debo.
Yeah, doing that Debo. They got that little package in there for him. So
Washington did that with Curtis Samuel last year.
Yeah. It's a part. Like, they will be fine. Like, Nick Chubb, Demetric Felton, John Kelly, and maybe you sprinkle some Elijah Moore in there, they will be fine. Especially for y'all complaining about running backs where they don't even want to pay him anyway.
So how many touches did you think Jerome Ford was going to get on average? Touches.
In a game?
In a game. How many did you think? Like before this injury?
7 or 8.
Okay. Is that fair? 7 or 8 touches?
Maybe.
I'm not going to worry about it, 7, 8 touches.
Here's what I will say. I'll throw it out here. I'm more – I don't like no problems. Like, if I got company coming over, I'm overstocking my refrigerator.
Yeah, I hear you.
Somebody might come over there and wanted to eat the whole thing up. So I'm going to have some extras in there. But I will take this. I did reach out to somebody close to Deshaun Watson's camp.
Oh, man. Insider.
And he did tell me, I said, look, he said, yo, I said, how what are you doing? How you looking? He said, man, 7-on-7 is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. He been rocking and rolling. You got to come out here. I said, same way I can't watch that movie. I got a lot of doing. But can't watch that right now. I got a lot of stuff going on. He says to me, and this is facts, he said, look, I said, well, I didn't really ask you this question. How do you feel? How does he feel about, the different pieces on the offense and defense? Because there's been rumors of people like we had, what's his name, DeAndre Hopkins and blah, blah, blah. He said, verbatim, he said, yo, he says this is the most talented group he's ever played with. I said, what? So you mean that's offense or defense? He said offensively.
It is.
This is the best unit he's ever played with. And I thought that was.
He played on. So, they won games with him his first 2 full seasons, but they weren't very talented.
The only thing he lacks is somebody to stretch the field, and which Marquise Goodwin's injury is the big hit to that. But if he gets a guy that can vertically stretch the field, Elijah Moore is better than anybody he had in the slot. They don't Amari Cooper runs routes better than anybody he's ever played with. Probably,
but he's not better than DeAndre Hopkins overall.
No, because DeAndre Hopkins is. DeAndre Hopkins.
I thought that was eye opening. I'm like, wow, okay, like he really.
David Njoku is better than people give him.
He likes the roster, and if you like it as is, look, that's on you, dog.
You also,
but you down. You also,
he's got no excuses.
You vouch for him. Yeah. That means your peoples.
Well, you ain't got no choice as a quarterback. But I told you they got to save that. Everybody was talking about the DP or the Donovan. God dang, I can't get that boy name on my hand. DeAndre Hopkins stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I told you they got to save some money. Now you got these injuries. You got these guys going down. You sign D-Hop, guess what? You're not going to be able to sign.
Okay, I like that.
Some of these missing you can't get that D in. You can't get that running back.
I like that.
You was talking about, oh, no, don't worry about that now.
We just all said we don't want it. Or at least you and I said we don't want him to spend on a running back anyway.
No, I don't, but I'm saying at least if it comes to that situation, you have that luxury.
I don't know. Now, there's always a way around the cap.
No, it ain't.
Yes,
if he come and knock on the door, like, listen, this ain't going to work. Now, here's the scary part, right? The scary part is this. Any injuries or significant time off for Amari Cooper or Nick Chubb, and now we
that's a problem.
Now we got a problem. That's
a problem.
Any significant, and when I say significant, we talk about, they say 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. Oh no.
Now listen, if Nick Chubb goes down,
don't you say that.
Listen,
don't you say what I think you're about to say. Don't you tell me.
You tell me that Nick Chubb goes down. I think they won't be as bad. I think they still could win games.
Because
it would turn into a shootout.
I agree with you. I don't think it's, as much as I love Nick Chubb, I don't think it's as big a deal. Only because
if Deshaun Watson's back, it'll turn into a shootout.
If he's not back, they're not going to be any good anyway. So it doesn't matter. Remember, if Deshaun Watson at his best was a top 5 receiver, a top 5 quarterback, right? Top 5. He was at his best in Houston. If he gets back to that, and when I say top 5, it's okay if he's 6 or 7. You know what I'm getting at. All right? If he's in that super elite group of quarterbacks, which he's capable of, if he gets back to that, then only the super elites can survive without stars.
Right.
The super elites only. That's it. Nobody's denying that the Browns won't be worse without Nick Chubb. I don't think the season's over if Nick Chubb gets hurt.
I think they could possibly still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I think that with Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson, you could win a Super Bowl. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl.
It would be much harder.
Because one of the areas that every team struggles with, and the Browns especially, when 2 days ago, I was just watching the camp, when you get inside the 10-yard line, all that other stuff,
it ain't no room.
Ain't no room to run all that.
But you know why? Who helps that? That's why Elijah Moore is in the backfield, because people ain't like, oh my goodness, you got a wide receiver in the backfield, now linebackers checking him like that. That's crazy.
I need to be able to, especially with that offensive line. They're one of the biggest, and then and DeJuan Jones can still be put in the heavy package.
Let's put him in at running back, maybe.
Oh, DeJuan Jones.
What is this, the fridge?
All right, let's leave it there for now. We'll send it to Mikey. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just a reminder to everybody that if you have not already liked and subscribed to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show channel, please do that. It takes 2 seconds. It helps us out in the long run, and it shows that you guys appreciate the content we're putting out, and you guys know we appreciate you guys all the same for tuning in with us every day. Big numbers already this morning, and we appreciate you guys. And with that, let's bring in our next guest. He is one of the hosts of the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show, which is a national podcast covering the biggest stories from around the league, hosted by NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson, who Matt is joining us now from Steelers training camp behind enemy lines. But we are glad to have Matt making his debut today. What's up, Matt? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? My apologies. I'm from my tiny little dorm room here in St. Vincent College at Steeler training camp, so I hope I sound okay, but good to be here. It's going to be fun.
Man, you just gave me chills down my spine because this looks just like two-day camp at Ohio University in them small dorms. Do they at least got you together with an AC? Do you have a window unit?
The whole dorm is air conditioned, so it's come a long way since the Joe Green days. But it's we're sharing a shower. It's rough. It's getting to be a little old. I'm ready to go home.
Matt, Steeler fans are going on and on about Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Now, we want the Steelers to suck 100%. I hope they lose every game this year. In fact, I want them to lose every game the rest of the history of their franchise.
That'd be great.
I'm not a believer in Kenny Pickett, but I wonder if maybe I'm being biased because I hate the Steelers. So are you to me, Kenny Pickett is Jimmy Garoppolo, Mac Jones, that level of quarterback. He's just a guy along for the ride maybe. Am I wrong about that? Is he going to be better than that?
I think he's better than that. And I'll be honest. I mean, my career, I was at Pitt for 3 years as the recruiting assistant. The 1 year I was a scout was for your guys' Brownies back in the day. And I didn't love Kenny coming out of school. I thought he was that type of guy. I thought he was a game manager. But the more I watched him and more I've been around him, and maybe I'm biased. I'll be honest. You're around these guys, it's a little hard not to be. He is a much better playmaker, athlete than I expected. Tremendous leader, good accuracy, enough arm strength. The little baby hands thing hasn't popped up. I have high hopes. I have high hopes in that I think he could be a 10 to 14th best starting quarterback in the league type of guy. Now, is that good enough to beat Lamar, Burrow, Watson, and Mahomes, et cetera? That's where I have my questions. But I think he'll be a good starting NFL quarterback.
Well, Matt, you just mentioned Watson. Where do you project him to be at? There's a lot of people who put a lot of emphasis on the 6 games, and they kind of forget about the rest of the stuff that he did prior to that. If he is back to what Watson used to be, where does that rank him in the division, and where does that put him in the pecking order with the league?
Where he used to be, to me, was somewhere between the second and fourth best quarterback in the league. I thought he was really, really playing well before this unbelievable stint of being off. And frankly, I thought he was horrible last year. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I thought he was.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's undeniable. I don't know how to comment on him. I'm not ignoring your guys' question at all, but I think he's the hardest player in the league right now to evaluate. I heard you guys kind of chatting right before I came on. I really like what the Browns have done to build around him. I adore Nick Chubb. I think he's the best back in the league, but it's going to be Deshaun's offense, not Chubb's. It's going to be more shotgun. I think Elijah Moore is a tremendous addition. I like Tillman a lot as well for the now and the long term. So I don't know. I do think there's a couple things, even at his best, that were problematic. Is he takes a lot of sacks. He holds the ball a long time. And I think his arm is good, not great, which worries me just for late weather, Cleveland, as we all know. Again, I spent a year there with the Browns. It's much different than Pittsburgh, by the lake there. So I think his arm is fine. It's just not tremendous. But where does that stack up against Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert? All these guys in the AFC. Lawrence is coming on like gangbusters. To say he's going to be in that company, I think is possible, but probably far-fetched. Those guys are just so tremendous right now, particularly Mahomes, of course.
When you look at this AFC North, obviously the Browns finish in last place. You're in Pittsburgh. They've never finished under 500 with Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Where do you see the Browns fitting in? Baltimore, obviously, they've gotten better with adding wide receivers and changing offense coordinators. Where does the Browns stack up in this AFC North in your eyes?
I think it's the best division in football. I don't think there's a below average team in the group. I hate to throw this out there, but I just have to. I can't help myself. My apologies. But the last time the Browns in this division, finished ahead of the Steelers was 1989. So there's some history here that shows that the black and gold, who don't have the star power that Cleveland does, just has a better penchant for winning football games, and I trust their coach the most in the division, followed by Harbaugh. I'm really worried about this Joe Burrow injury, though. I mean, a plant leg calf, and this guy didn't have any training camp last year because of the appendectomy. He blew out his knee before that. Early in his career, he was just beat to death, but when they didn't have any offensive linemen. I think he's by far or clearly the best quarterback in the division, and the Bengals are the team to beat. But I don't like how they're trending right now. I have some questions about the Ravens' defense, especially their defensive front. Now with their coordinator change a year ago, they don't rely on blitz for pressure. They need a front four to get there, and I don't think they have the pass rushers to do it. I'm really excited about the Ravens' offense overall and the changes that you referenced. But we don't know that's going to be a success. That's the biggest scheme change in the entire league. There absolutely could be growing pains. But frankly, I'd probably give the Bengals a 35% chance to win the division. The Browns and Steelers around 25-ish, something in that neighborhood. But all these teams are just going to beat the dirt out of each other 6 times a year. And I think Cincinnati's clearly the team to beat. But it's a really, really good division.
Matt, what is you mentioned Elijah Moore. There's a lot of hype for him. We're all optimistic about his potential, but there hasn't been much production the first 2 years. I know it was a Jets team with bad quarterback play, but he was unhappy there. He, was complaining about getting opportunities. What happened there, and what makes you think he'll be much better here?
Because I think he's a tremendous route runner. I think he's highly, highly competitive, and I think his style of game fits the league really well. He's a separator. He explodes out of his breaks. He's a technician. He's good on the outside. He's good on in the slot. I don't know what happened in New York, but in this instance, I tend to side with the player. And frankly, he had some of the worst quarterback play in the entire league for his career. I think it was one of the best moves of the offseason for the Browns to go get this guy.
Matt, another big guy that we went out and got two guys, Dalvin Tomlinson and Zadarius Smith. When you go back, and we had one of the beat reporters for the Vikings on, and he talked about how much they love Dalvin Tomlinson and what he was able to do for them in the middle. It gives you a little more pass rush than meets the eye. And then Zadarius Smith, the guy who they thought was playing at a defensive player of the year type caliber in the first half of the season. You mix that with Myles Garrett and Jim Schwartz with his emphasis on getting upfield with the quarterback or getting after the quarterback and penetrating. What type of defense can the Browns be up front if they're able to kind of put things together?
Light years better than last year. I'll be honest. I thought their defensive tackle room last year was one of the worst position groups in the entire league. And Tomlinson is a stabilizing professional player that gives you a little bit of pass rush, but is going to hold the point and let those smaller linebackers run and hit. I thought the Browns were very weak up the middle last year, starting with the front. And I don't think that'll be the case. I don't know what you'll get out of Ika in his first year, but I'm sure you'll get quality snaps on early downs. Tomlinson is a high-quality player. I wouldn't call him a star, but he's 1,000 times better than what they played with before. And the beauty of Zadarius Smith, too, is he's going to kick inside in passing situations and be a real force that way. You guys didn't even mention Isaiah McGuire. That was one of my favorite draft picks in the entire draft. And Okoronkwo, whose name I butcher all the time, but I think was a tremendous signing. So I think this defensive front, especially in Jim Schwartz's system, is going to be extremely good. And I'm strongly leaning to making my defensive player of the year pick being Myles Garrett.
Well, I'm glad you was bringing up defense because my next question is about the secondary, and particularly not the corners but the safety position. You know, they bring in Juan Thornhill to be a true post safety, and I love that. But I do believe, and tell me if I'm overhyping this, I think that Grant Delpit is a huge piece that needs to be good on this defense because he has to be essentially the Malcolm Jenkins of this defense. And, you know, Malcolm Jenkins was known for covering running backs, covering tight ends, covering slots. Do you see Delpit being that type of safety?
I think it's a really pivotal year in his career. I love him coming out of school. I think there's a ton of ability there. I think the system fits him well. I kind of feel like it's put up or shut up time for him, and I lean towards him doing well because I did really like him quite a bit coming out. I also want to mention Rodney McLeod. You guys probably know better than I do, but he's at least the reliable stabilizing force back there. I think he's a nice pickup too.
Matt, getting back to the Steelers here for a second, you know, their offensive line's been an issue the last couple of years. I know it improved last year a little bit. How good is it? Is it still a problem? Like, they haven't run, you know, the Steelers, we always think of running with the Steelers, but their running game hasn't been particularly great in the last couple of years. So what do you make of their running game and their offensive line right now?
So if you go look at the numbers, any of the advanced stats in particular, EPA, things of that nature, this offense was dismal before their Week 9 bye, just horrible. And they played really good teams. After their bye, Pickett played 1,000 times better. The running game really came along. Now, it's not an explosive running game. I mean, they do not break long runs, but they were at the top of the league in running against 8-man boxes. They were at the top of the league in not having any negative runs, so they consistently churn out 5, 6, 3 yards, and that's very Najee Harris-like. So a couple notes about the offense overall. Last year, the Steelers' offense was by far the youngest in the league, and they also were by far the healthiest in the league. So that's going to work two ways. Chances are you're going to get more banged up. That's just bound to happen. And their offensive line, they started the same 5 guys from start to finish. That never, ever happens. But you also look at it and say, well, all these guys are a year older, too. If they were that young, now they've been in NFL stadiums and know how to win. You add Isaac Solomalu at left guard. That was their weakest spot last year. He's a really good player. And I don't think Broderick Jones will start from Week 1. I think he's going to be a bit of a project, but eventually he's going to be the starting left tackle. So I think the line's in a really good spot. Doesn't have a lot of star power and doesn't get the recognition, but it really came around as the season went on.
Matt, I'm looking at the totality of everything in the AFC, and I haven't seen it this stacked in a long time. I mean, you take a look at the Dolphins with the 2 receivers that they got. It's shame Jalen Ramsey is out, but they were making moves. You take a look at the teams like the Jets who got Aaron Rodgers, brought in receivers. Sauce Gardner is a guy over there. Defense is really good with the Jets. Justin Herbert, you know, is kind of put up. It seems like this is the Justin Herbert. Hey, are you in that mix or really not? Like, we really want to see what you're doing coming up to get where Allen and Burrow is. And then obviously you got teams like the Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars, like who you said are coming on very strong. This might be the most competitive I've ever seen the league. And it's crazy, just for outside the box thinking, how is the NFL able to do this? How, like, every single year there's a competitive team, and it looks like it's stacked from 1 to 12.
Yeah, it's the AFC is brutal right now. Real quick though, your team and my team, the Browns and the Steelers, are really fortunate in terms of outside the division. They don't really play a lot of the big dogs in the conference, you know, so the schedule's not so bad for both those teams compared to a lot of these teams that we're talking about. I mean, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, the Jaguars, they all play each other. I mean, that's going to be a brutal gauntlet, you know, for all those teams, let alone the divisions they're in. But what's amazing to me is maybe 8 of the top 10 quarterbacks are all in the same conference, and most of them are extremely young. You know, this isn't Brady and Ben and Peyton Manning at the end of their career. Like, the best is ahead for these guys. Maybe Pickett, maybe Watson, who knows? But I know the other guys are already great, or have very little questions about. So I say this all the time on Pittsburgh radio: is like, I think the Steelers will be a better team than they were last year. They still might not make the playoffs. They still is going to be enough time to compete. And the same's true for the Browns, the Jaguars, the Chargers. They got this Mahomes guy who's Michael Jordan's in the conference too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt, we got a guy, one of our producers back behind the curtain had this issue with Isaiah Thomas going down yesterday, and Alex Wright. Will you tell us what it is about McGuire that you like, and please ease his mind and tell him that things
They're panicking.
Yeah.
They're panicking, Matt. Tell them how crazy they are. Please.
I think he's a really good prospect. I think he's tough. He's physical. He holds the point well. I thought he'd be a day 2 pick. They got him in the 4th round. I think he's got size. He's got physicality. He plays hard. Bigger end that maybe he could kick inside, kind of like Smith, in time after he learns a little bit. He's got good length. I thought he was a much better prospect than where he went in the draft. It wouldn't have shocked me if he was a 2nd round pick, but he is a rookie.
Mikey McNuggets, you have a question. Go ahead for Matt.
Yeah, Matt, how long have you been involved in scouting NFL draft prospects?
Wow. So to give you some idea, I turned 50 this year. I'm an old man. So my first paid job, I was at Pitt for 3 years doing recruiting. And that was Antonio Bryant's last year and both of Larry's year, to give you some idea. So I was there with all of Larry Fitzgerald's practices, helped recruit him, all those good things. Helped recruit Darrelle Revis to Pitt, who just went in the Hall of Fame. So I'm an old man. And then I went to Akron for just an 8-month stretch before we built this relationship with the Browns. And I scouted for the Browns for 1 year. So I got hired the day after they drafted Kellen Winslow Jr., and I got fired the day after we selected Braylon Edwards, as did everybody in the building, when Romeo took over. And then I was at ESPN for 10 years and I've been doing it that long. Since Larry Fitzgerald was 18 years old, I guess is the best way to put it.
All right, so the guy on our show, Tyvis Powell, who's asked a couple of questions. Tyvis, do you happen to remember your scouting report on Tyvis coming out of Ohio State in 2015?
I do not. I apologize.
Well, here, I'll fill it in for you.
You should have thought about Jim Thorpe. The guy should have won the Jim Thorpe Award, best DB you ever seen, greatest hips, recovery speed, everything. It was just a jack of all trades.
What about Johnny Football there, Matt?
I was not a fan at all. I didn't think his game would translate well at all. I thought he was so reliant on Mike Evans, and I think I was right.
Who's the quarterback? You got to be honest here. We're taking you at your word. Who's the quarterback that you thought was going to be good, nobody else thought they were going to be good, and you were right about? And who's the quarterback you thought was going to be good, but he turned out not to be good?
Okay. So I'm on record, and few were at the time. I thought Pat Mahomes was the best quarterback in his draft class. Several went ahead of him, Watson, Trubisky.
Right.
And I was same with Lamar. I thought Lamar and Mahomes were the best quarterbacks in their respective classes, and I think I was right. Well, Josh Allen's in the mix.
Yeah.
I also found this kid named Joe Flacco at Audubon High School many, many moons ago that nobody would offer, and we beat Ohio University on him. So that's one of my feathers in my cap many, many moons ago.
Could have changed my whole
Man,
you could have changed our whole damn trajectory.
Joe Flacco.
Good gracious.
And who'd you get it wrong on? Man?
I was a big Wentz believer. I pretty much I think that ship has sailed. I'm still a Jameis Winston believer. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think he could be Geno Smith late in his career, but I thought he was going to be a star.
I did too.
Matt, I got to follow up on something you just said. You liked Lamar, you liked Mahomes, you didn't like Manziel. What was the difference when you looked at those guys and how kind of Lamar and Manziel, how Lamar played as the free-flowing scrambler, kind of make stuff up on the fly as opposed to Manziel that made you like Lamar and not Johnny Football?
I think those two that end up making it are way, way, way more gifted. I mean, I thought Manziel was a very overrated athlete. And frankly, this kind of is true for Baker Mayfield too. Like if you're a smaller quarterback, and Russell Wilson's dealing with this right now, if you're a shorter quarterback, it still matters. But you better be really fleet of foot and elusive in the pocket. And I thought Mayfield and Manziel didn't have that, nor did I think that they were close to the runners or creators. Certainly the runner that Lamar is. I mean, he's as good as you ever see. But I thought that Mahomes was a much better creator with the football, with more safety to his game, without compromising aggression.
Matt, if every NFL team was redrafting, if you were redrafting the entire NFL right now, forget contracts, but factor in guys' age. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes would go first. Who would go second?
I think Josh Allen, quickly followed by Burrow.
Okay, and Jalen Hurts. Would any team take Jalen Hurts over Burrow?
I don't think so. He would be 6th or 7th on my list. I would still take Herbert over him. I would still take Lamar over him. Maybe Lawrence.
Okay.
Really quickly, Matt, who's the first, in that scenario, who's the first non-quarterback off the board?
Ooh. Justin Jefferson certainly comes to mind if you think about age.
Yeah.
I think there's 5 elite edge rushers. There's Myles Garrett, there's TJ Watt, there's Max Crosby, who I would put 5th. There's Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons. Yeah. So Parsons would probably be my first defensive pick.
If you had to bet on one of on these players getting in the Hall of Fame or not today, Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, Nick Chubb, yay or nay, Hall of Fame, if you had to bet today?
Yay, but not Bitonio. He's great. Yeah, I just don't think – I'm thinking of guards that went in recently. I wouldn't put him in the Hutchinson-Faneca class. I'd put him behind a Zach Martin of this era. So I think he's a just missed Hall of Very Good. Mm-hmm. Running backs are a weird conversation, though, because none of these guys – like, look at Derrick Henry's career rushing yards. It's really low on the list, but you look at Henry and think, that guy's a Hall of Famer, right? Maybe 1 or 2 good years. And I think Chubb's in the same boat, but none of those guys are going to ever end up top 5 all-time rushing leaders. People just don't run the ball enough, and they don't play as long anymore. But if you compare Chubb to the players of his era, I think he's even better than Henry. And if he does it for 3 or 4 more years, I think he's going to have a really strong case.
I agree. And I think when it comes to not only running backs, but quarterbacks and wide receivers, we have to look at the numbers differently than we used to. For quarterbacks and receivers, there's got to be higher levels to reach. And because you're going to have quarterbacks that are good, that are putting up better numbers than current Hall of Famers, and vice versa with running backs. You got to look at the numbers a little differently. Matt, great stuff, man. We appreciate
you, man.
That was fun. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, that was good, Matt.
Yeah,
good insight on the entire division.
I like that. I like him. Can we bring him back up?
Yeah. We will bring Matt back. He is a member of the Peacock and Williams NFL show. It's part of Locked On Network, which is part of our bigger network, so I'm sure we'll see Matt again. Real quick, before we move into our next topic, I want to remind you guys, if you're not a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, what are you waiting for? There's 2 different tiers. You become a coaches tier member, a starters tier member, for $1.99 a month. That gets you custom emojis and special access in the chat. And then as coaches tier member, $4.99 gets you those same perks plus some included perks, which will come up during football season, and most importantly, that extra overtime content on a daily basis. All right, guys, we're continuing our 32 and 32 series today. It is number 21 on the list, and is the first non-player. It's actually a coach. And Bubba Ventrone came in for us at number 21. It is convenient to have Tyvis on the show with a guy like Bubba coming in on the list, who is our special teams guru, played it in the NFL at the highest level humanly possible. Tyvis, what kind of impact is Bubba Ventrone going to have on the Browns' overall season?
We're not going to argue that he's 21.
We'll get to that next.
Like, that's so high.
Listen, hold on.
Think it's too high?
Heck yeah.
A special teams coach?
That's high as hell.
Listen.
That means that's one of your starters. There's 22 starters. That means he's more important than the starter.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead. There you go. Get your money off.
I got a problem with this.
Okay.
Because is Bubba, what was the question? Ask me the question again so I can answer your question.
G answered a different question than what I asked.
Ask your question again so I want to answer your questions, but then I got some more stuff I need to talk about.
How big of an impact and what will it be for Bubba Ventrone having on this Browns team in 2023?
Okay. it's a big impact having special teams because special teams can change the whole dynamic of a game. You know, things can be going bad. One big special teams play, whether that's a hit, return, touchdown, some fumble recovery, something like that, can change the whole trajectory of a game. A block punt, if you block a punt, you go on to win that game 90% of the times. A wise coach told me that one day. But my issue with Bubba Ventrone is this. Those guys that I seen in that Hall of Fame game last week, you know, yeah, we could call them backups, but guess who your special team is pretty much made out of? Backups. I seen a kickoff return, dang near go to the house. I seen a punt return, dang near go to a house. And I seen our kicker miss a field goal. Those are detrimental to losing the game. Like if that happens, you probably go on to lose those games. So, you know, for a guy that's, you know, made his career in special teams, you better find you some guys that take it as seriously as you do. I mean, you got to find you some hungry guys on that special teams because that right there cannot happen in the regular season at all.
Fellas, we got a major problem here. Our guys behind the glass think that the special teams coach is more important than a quarter of the starters on this team.
That's crazy.
That is batshit crazy.
A quarter of the starters?
I mean, he's at 21. There's like.
Well,
you have more coaches, don't you?
We do have 2 more coaches on.
How many? Name me the players you've had behind him on the list.
Steve, we actually have these graphics. We can pull it up here. It is number. Start at 184 here, but Cedric Tillman, Jordan Akins, Jack Conklin. I need to see the list after that. I don't remember off the top of my head because we went out of order as we did this.
The special teams coach is more important than the starting right tackle.
I mean, because
come on, it's crazy.
I stand by it.
Listen. If you got a good special teams coach that can get because your special teams has been horrible since Josh Cribbs is here. I mean, Josh Cribbs won games by himself.
Wasn't Ethan Pocic a Pro Bowler last year?
Pro Bowl reserve.
So the special teams coach is more important than the Pro Bowl. The 3 best centers in the AFC.
I refuse to listen to any Pro Bowl conversation after Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl after throwing 2 touchdowns.
That's fine.
So drop. I refuse that argument.
That's fine.
Eviscerated.
That's fine, Mike. I'll give you PFF grades. Didn't Pocic have one of the best PFF grades of any center?
So y'all. So
talk to him.
And what team had the best special teams unit in football last year?
Wait, how many games did they win?
Wait a minute. So it's
the worst division in football.
It has nothing.
The second highest rated center in football.
He's cooking right now.
So does he deserve to be in part of the 32? Y'all just have a problem where he's at. That's fine. So answer his question. Like y'all didn't even answer his question.
What's his question?
What was the question again? Something about how big of an impact Bubba Ventrone has.
I think overall, coaches are overrated in sports. I think it's all.
That's a lie. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Players. Mostly about the players.
But it's a lie.
In basketball, I actually agree with
That's a lie.
Here's 2 things. Yeah. Could you trade your special teams coach for a starting right tackle?
No.
You can trade coaches, by the way. You do know that. So no team in the world would trade a coach for any starter ever. Second of all, special teams mostly comes down to is your kicker good or not? Like,
how do they determine that the Colts have the number 1 special teams? What is that based on?
Probably off return yards, punt net.
I'll find the exact statistics, but there was an EPA involved. They had the number 1
it has
kick
to go
return
The
coverage.
Environmental Protection Agency is involved here.
Oh, Mr. Analytics! Now you can't turn your back on analytics now, boy.
I know.
Now here's my thing. They've gotten rid of kickoffs out of the game. To be truthful,
they ain't got rid of them. They definitely toned them down.
And then they X that out the game. So I don't even know if we can really use that. So you talk about punts, and we know no one blocks punts in the league.
That's a lie.
No one blocks punts.
That's a lie.
How many block punts are there?
3
on a season?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 3, but
no one blocks punts anymore.
So how many times have that block punt team went on to win that game?
I mean, it's a small sample size.
No, it ain't.
I mean,
in the history, I'm telling you, it's 90% of the time the team that blocks the punt goes on to win the game.
But if there's only 3
how many block punts were there in 2022?
I got it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12.
In the whole league?
In the whole league.
The whole season, there were 12.
12.
Sounds like a lot.
No. How many games?
Sounds like a lot to me.
How many games are played in a year? 17 times what? 20, 30?
That sounds like a lot to me.
17 times 32 is what?
a lot.
Well, it's 17 times 16 because it's 2 teams.
But yeah,
that sounds like a lot of block punts to me. 12 is way too many.
Does that include the playoffs, Mikey?
No, it's just the regular season.
Okay, so 17.
I know that. Remember, didn't the Packers lose in the playoffs because they?
And how many block punts were there?
There were 12 punts.
Divided by 12.
The Colts blocked one of them.
There was an average of .22 blocks per game.
Nobody's blocks.
I think
matters.
that's wrong. I actually think I screwed that up.
Yeah, you probably
Bad
did.
job out of you.
Hold on. 12.
What difference does it make? A block punt, if you got a good special teams unit that contributes on returning, block punts, or you have a good kicker, it changes the mathematics of you. Those 3-point games that you either going to win or lose.
Here's the number. Can you see it?
You can't read it?
.044. .04 block punts per game. It's a non-factor.
I don't understand what. I tell you what. I bet you it become more of a bigger of a factor now that they're getting rid of kickoffs.
Why?
Why? Because that's the only way your special teams unit can make an impact on the defense.
Is that going to make them all of a sudden great field goal block? They're going to block.
It's hard to block a punt.
You can't block punts.
It's not hard to block a punt.
So.
If you got a good special teams coordinator,
listen,
somebody gonna get schemed.
We all like the hiring of the special teams coordinator. He seems like he's a good guy for the job.
You two are the most.
How
you two. Wait a minute. You
21?
You two mofo's are the most disrespectful people I've ever seen. Y'all not about to sit here and tell me that a kid who made it in the league for special teams, you about to tell me special teams don't matter? Listen, woke up and said, that's what y'all saying. Y'all downplaying special teams, and I ain't with that. I will not have that on the UCSS. We ain't special teams is a huge deal. Stop it. Stop it. Y'all about to make me upset. I'm about to start sweating up in here.
Is he more important than the starting right tackle?
No.
Of course not.
You mad at him over a list. I'm talking about his impact on the team.
Okay.
Nobody's saying he can't have an impact.
That's all I'm saying.
All right,
I don't care if he's 32, 1, 5, 6, 29. It doesn't matter to me.
That's it. So we're all on the same page.
We're on the same page.
I just don't want y'all sitting here downplaying special teams.
Who's the biggest culprit of the three of you? Who had him the highest?
Let me pull it up. I will pull that up.
I'm going to predict Earl. I'm predicting Earl.
I'm going to guess Anthony off the top of my head. Okay, the highest of our list.
Yeah.
I had him at 25.
That's reasonable.
Better.
Anthony had him at 23.
Okay.
So it's Earl.
Hold on. Earl came in at a 9. Go ahead, give me this thing so I can throw this at you.
He's definitely top 5 on my list.
Yeah, Earl. We need Josh Cribbs back.
What type of type is special teams? Special teams.
How high does it have to be? Somebody said it's 25 and 23, and he had to come for average. His average had to be like 3.
No,
Earl.
We're not. You know what?
Yeah.
We're just gonna move on.
I can't Earl.
He may have been in the teens. He was in the teens.
No.
He's in the teens.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Bubba Ventrone's
He's in the teens. It's okay.
Listen,
Bubba's getting tall sweeps now.
All I'm gonna tell you is, if we
special teams.
Wait, I gotta know who's the best player that Earl had Ray Ventrone ahead of.
I just closed out of it because I didn't want to.
No, I want to hear it. Earl's good defending himself.
All I know, hey Earl, they block a punt or they take a kick return or punt return to the house, then he deserved to be 21.
Hold on. I'll tell y'all because my niggas don't want to put me on blast. I'll put myself on blast. I had him 17th. But let me just tell you why, in my opinion, I had him this high, right?
I respect
I understand like a special teams coach is the only coach that deals with damn near everybody on the football team. And a lot of times you hear head coaches and players say games is won and lost on special teams. As you alluded to last year, we lost several games due to the special teams unit. So if he can improve this unit as well as help improve like the assistant coaches on the staff, as a former special teams player, I think he's pretty damn important.
You go, Earl.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Let me hop on here.
Spoken like a true champ.
I played 1 year of football. I've told you about this. I played 1 year. I played left tackle and punter. So as a former special teamer myself in 2nd grade, let me tell you what.
He said he played left tackle and punter.
My ball sack weighs more than you. What are you talking about?
He played the most important position on the line.
Listen, I've told you. I'll tell y'all again.
Dude, you must have gone to an all-white school, right?
No. This like second grade, like Pop Warner second. I got pancaked every play. That's why I hated football. It was the worst experience of my life. But I did punt. So don't you dare. When we're talking about special teams.
Did you go to an all-white school?
I went to the smallest public high school in New Jersey. So
you went to an all-white school.
The ratios were way off.
Said I got
it was considered very diverse, but because it was so small. You're talking a team with 3 special teamers. Tyvus played in the NFL. I played in second grade, and Anthony and Earl are part of the special team.
He played the same position as Joe Thomas.
I gotta know who Earl had 18. I gotta know.
It Grant Delpit.
Every play.
Did you hear that, Tyvus?
What?
You know who he had 18 behind the special teams coach?
Who, Earl?
Your guy, Grant Delpit. He had him 18.
Hey, listen, man.
Earl.
Listen, I'm going to let everybody know, in life, there's really no right or wrong way to do things. Everything is opinionated.
That's true. Well, there is some right or wrong, but this is all opinion. Earl, you really think that he's more important than Grant Delpit?
Could be.
I think Earl's more important to this team than any individual player.
He got an all-pro. He got an all-pro returner and an all-pro kicker.
No comment.
Yes.
Listen, we put the list together. I think they both of us is important, but I just know how dismal that unit was, and I know how that unit cost us some games. So the special teams cost us more games last year than Grant Delpit did.
I actually agree with Earl on that sense. I really do.
He's not going to make the kicker better.
The kicker's part of the special teams, boo.
So is the
Why
punter.
wouldn't he?
What would he know about kicking? He don't know shit about kicking. They need a kicking coach.
He might give him a good routine, something that
Are you
works.
guys crazy? You know the special teams coach don't really do anything with the kicker.
Yeah, they do.
What do they do with the kicker? They're not kickers. What the fuck would they know?
So how do you think you become partially a special teams coach? You got to deal with all of special teams. You got to know something about kickers.
What is
all of my special teams coordinators in the league spend time with the kickers?
Listen, Ray Ventrone's going to be a good coach, and he is important to the team.
This is sad. This is supposed to be a 10-minute segment.
Is batshit crazy, but I think he's important, and I think he's good.
Just not 21.
Usually, I assume the special teams coach gets a job because he's like related to the head coach. It's just some random white dude.
That's hilarious.
It's like the guy who gets featured on Hard Knocks. The white dude who gets featured on Hard Knocks ends up the special teams coach because he's whatever.
So would you say that all I need to know is he part of the 32?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
I would have him in my 32.
Case closed. So
I'd have him on the back end.
Bull, what I need you to do, and we'll put a bow tie on this and move on. I need you to, by Friday, to give me your 32 and 32 list.
Yes, and you can bust my balls if you disagree.
So
That's
we'll get that from you, and then we'll compare. We are going to move on, though, and I want to remind people, we mentioned this earlier, I want to mention it again. We now have a partnership with Fanatics. And if you haven't ever been to Fanatics, I don't know what you've been doing. They have apparel for every team in the world. You can get jerseys, sweatshirts, shorts, T-shirts, long sleeves, whatever you want. You can find it at Fanatics. And if you go to fanatics.com/UCSS, by using the link, it's in the chat, it's in the description of this video, we get a little portion of money back on that. So help support us by supporting the Browns. Get yourself some awesome swag. It helps us out in the long run, and we very much appreciate that.
I was a little out of control with the language during that last couple minutes.
That was one of the funniest segments we've ever had. I laughed harder during that than I have in a long time.
I almost slipped up on y'all.
Listen,
I like when Tyvus, the closest he got to cursing was mofo.
He said mofo.
that was.
This
funny.
is a family show. It's a family show.
If Tyvus ever says the F word on air, he has
Greatest
to take a
moment
sip
ever.
of the Cleveland whiskey behind us.
That is a highlight.
His first
moment
F-bomb,
right
his
there.
first sip of liquor.
I was close.
All right.
Yes.
I got a new game, guys. I think it's going to be fun real quick.
This is a good crew for a game.
This is a
the
very
best
good
crew for a game right here. All right, go ahead.
No whiteboards, no. It's a team effort
For
here.
a second, I just thought he said no whiteboards.
I did too.
I thought he said the same thing.
Anthony asked if we need a whiteboard, then we don't need
I said,
whiteboards.
we done escalated that far.
Wow. Damn.
Okay, so the other day when Kareem Hunt and John Johnson III took their visits to the Rams and the Saints respectively, it sparked a thought in my mind. Those guys had been so out of mind, out of anywhere. I can make a fun game out of this. I found 10 veteran NFL players who signed contracts this offseason.
Okay.
You said
And I'm
what?
curious if you guys have any idea where they signed.
Okay.
We're going to test your football knowledge
I like it.
with a game of Where the hell did these NFL veterans sign in free agency? Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Where is Carmen Sandiego? Right? Where is?
That's close.
Okay.
Let's start with the first one. How about Matt Prater, the kicker, formerly of the Lions?
Formerly of the Broncos, too.
Formerly of the Broncos.
You start off with a kicker.
Where did he sign this offseason?
Earl's got him as the 13th best Lion.
Jared Goff, who?
Oh, I love Earl.
I have
I have no clue.
I'm going to say Arizona just because I don't know.
I have no freaking clue.
Tennessee.
I'll guess.
Throw somebody out there.
I'll guess. Dallas needed a new kicker, but they got another guy.
I have no
I'll
idea.
say the Chargers.
And the answer. Tyler Powell. Pulling it out his ass.
Did you just guess?
He got it on that special teams text message.
Man, y'all gotta pay attention. Y'all gotta keep y'all eyes
Are
open
you
on
in
these
the special
moves.
teams text message group?
I am.
Maybe.
Yeah, look. Return right. Return right.
I gotta see if my mom can find the picture from second grade of me in the shoulder pads. They were so big.
I
gotta find
cannot
every
believe
player
you
who's
played
so
the
bad.
same position as Joe Thomas. Like,
We had that bond. Yeah, you're right.
You here's the funny part. When I played like elementary school football, I played running back.
That's crazy.
Nice.
And the reason was because I was by far the biggest kid. Remember, I've basically been this height since like the 3rd grade. I was huge, tall.
Were you like the kids in the Little League World Series who looked
It was
like they shouldn't
crazy.
be there?
I looked way older, and then of course I just stopped growing, and everybody shot past me. But I was a big, strong kid, and we would play against other neighborhoods in Brooklyn. We'd have like town teams, and I'd be the running back, and nobody could tackle me.
Cheaters.
Right? Until we played the kids from Bensonhurst, which is another
F those
neighborhood in
kids.
Brooklyn. Those guys all knew how to tackle, and we would get. Our whole game plan when we played was give me the ball and I would drag people down the field. But these guys at Bensonhurst, they knew actually how to tackle, and they were chopping me down by the legs. I was going nowhere.
So y'all lost.
And we couldn't move the ball. We had no other game plan. Our quarterback couldn't throw.
Tyvus, the ankle clap is one of
That
the
was
most.
it. That was the
goodness.
end of my running back career.
The ankle clap is one
Go
of the
ahead.
most devastating tackles.
Brutal.
The ankle clap, and when the
Snap
ball,
that leg and he
when the inside two balls of your ankle hit
Bam.
each other, you are dead. That is the most sensitive part of your ankle, man. You
That
be like
do hurt.
that
do hurt.
little ankle bone in here. it take only like 0.5 pounds of pressure for that to just fall off. It'll dislocate easy.
All right, number 2. We got a
two.
bunch of these. We're going through them pretty quick.
Sorry.
How about Nathan Peterman? Where did
He's
Nathan
still in the
He
NFL?
signed a contract. Exactly. That's the whole point of this
Wow.
game. Is this Nathan Peterman is on
That
an NFL
why
franchise.
Colin
right now.
Cowherd still had E.J. Manuel and some other people on his list because he thought they were in the NFL?
That was crazy.
We'll get to that in a sec.
I try to.
I'm going to say
Are we sure it's not like an XFL team or Canadian
promise
Football
this
League?
I really have no idea.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is well done, Mike.
I
This
have
is
no
pretty
idea.
obscure.
Nathan.
Peterman.
Okay, who did he play? He played for the Raiders.
Wearing a Bills.
when
Yeah,
was
he did
sick.
play for the Raiders.
And then who was the head coach at
Threw
the time?
5 picks, right, in his first NFL game?
And they took him out. Yeah.
Who was the head coach when he did that for the Raiders? Who was the Raiders before John Gruden?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna say he plays for like the
Tick.
Dolphins or something.
I'm gonna say the Falcons because
Dolphins.
I don't know.
I'm going to say Steelers.
All good guesses. All incorrect guesses. Nathan Peterman is Justin Fields' backup in Chicago.
Is he their actual backup or is he battling for a job?
I looked at their depth chart. He's the only guy listed that I've heard of behind Justin Fields. So I think.
I would take anybody I've never heard of over him.
He's a
All
backup.
right,
in
next
waiting.
one.
Oof, gosh.
How about O.J. Howard? What did O.J. Howard
He just
sign?
got
just got
cut.
cut.
He was with the
he
Raiders
just
and he
get
got
cut?
cut.
Bad job out of you.
Okay,
I
I'll
heard
skip
that
this.
too. This
Raiders and he got. Oh, it was the
Texans.
Texans. I thought
It was the Texans.
Raiders.
He
He
just
did
got cut in the last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
Wow.
not see that.
Yeah,
Okay,
bad
my
job.
bad. Hand up, my bad. How about next? Damian Harris. Where's Damian Harris?
Oh, I know
Oh,
this.
Buffalo.
No, that's might be Buffalo actually. It is Buffalo.
I think it's Buffalo.
I think it is Buffalo. It's Buffalo.
G?
Go Buffalo.
Are you on the Buffalo bandwagon?
I would probably go with. I'll go with Buffalo. They seem like they always need a back.
Did I sucker them all into a bad answer, or is it right?
No, Bull is right. He is a Buffalo Bill for the upcoming season.
It's funny because I just talked about him yesterday, and we were talking about Buffalo. So I was like, yeah, he is a Buffalo.
Okay, next up. How about Clelin Ferrell, the former 4th overall pick by the Raiders?
I just saw something with him.
Where's he suiting up?
Hey, listen. He signed up. I think he signed with Home Depot.
Wow.
He's the guy that meets you in the front to actually need some help with that
They
timber.
made a bigger bid than Lowe's.
You know what's sad
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
a
yeah.
bigger contract than
I
Lowe's.
also seen
401k.
where it was, and I
It
just
was
can't
right. There was an
remember where it
article about
was.
him the other day I saw.
Denver.
I can't remember. Well, that's a good guess.
That is a good guess. I'm gonna say the Jets.
I'm gonna say Miami.
All good guesses. G's the closest. He is now suiting up for the San Francisco 49ers.
Good one.
If anybody can revive his career,
Oh yeah, just put them in. They plug people in, and they might be the off the street team.
wasn't he like he was a top 10 pick, wasn't he?
4th overall.
4th overall. He was part of that disaster with
Mike Mayock.
Mike Mayock
Yeah.
was out here just picking he was like, pick your favorite players by colors. And I'm like, dang, you got Clelin Ferrell and
It's funny. They took Clelin Ferrell 4th overall. They got Max Crosby in the 5th round that year.
Right.
Same draft.
Yeah, he nailed that one. But,
One's now a
blew
top
the
5
football.
defensive end in football. The other one's a top 5 pick.
didn't he sign a
Can't play.
safety in the first round too?
Yeah, they drafted Jonathan
Abrams.
Abrams out of Mississippi
A
State.
safety? You don't draft no safety in the first
Kill
round.
it. Hey. Wait, chill out. Yes, you do.
Second round.
Wow.
That's where. Hey, look, if Mike Dawson only goes
Y'all-
second round, you got to be
Y'all
Ronnie Lott.
Y'all the disrespect is real on this panel. Hey.
This is Team Tyvus behind the glass, by the way. All right, next up. How about Calais Campbell? No longer in the AFC North,
I
terrorizing
should know
the Browns.
this.
But who did he sign with this offseason?
I forgot.
I should know this because I just seen that. Is it Indianapolis?
I forgot.
I seen it too. I know Indianapolis.
Oh my
ain't even right.
gosh.
It's crazy how this stuff goes. You remember it, and then
Because you
I
see
remember
it,
the
like you
article.
see it on your timeline, or
Yeah.
you read about it,
Right?
but you.
Wouldn't you think it would be a contender?
Steve,
Why would
stop
someone-
texting him answers. What the hell are you doing, Steve? Don't give him the
Steve
answers.
texting the
Yeah,
answers?
don't look.
I won't look.
Don't
I
look.
won't look either.
But Steve's right. Steve's right on this one.
Jacksonville. I don't know.
That's it.
Is it Jacksonville?
That's it. It's Jacksonville.
He went back to Jacksonville.
say Philly.
It's Jacksonville.
Oh, the confidence. Tyvus and G, I like the confidence. The issue. Take it, Steve.
Oh, I would have never guessed
He
that.
didn't
Yes,
sign with a
that is.
contender.
Man, he took Marcus Mariota's
He took
spot.
Although, who's going to win the NFC South? They all suck.
Baker was named the starter for the Week 1 preseason game, by the way.
Woohoo.
By the way, that doesn't matter. He is
No, I know.
on
I'm
the
just saying.
depth chart. He's been listed as a co-starter. He's starting Week 1, and then the other schlep dick is starting Week 2.
Probably. Yes.
I
Not
would.
probably he is.
Hey, I would.
His name is Kyle Trask.
They were analyzing the Buccaneers quarterback situation on NFL Live.
It was so funny.
You saw that with
It was so funny.
what's his name, Booger and
McFarland?
and who was the other one?
Well, they said on
Marcus
NFL.
Spears, right?
No, Spears wasn't on there. It was Darlington, and it was I don't know, somebody else, and they were like, the Buccaneers just need to lose. They need to lose as much as possible to get a top 5
Well,
pick.
according to the NFL Network, the Browns going 6-11.
Really? What do you mean about NFL Network? One person.
Yeah, he did the schedule thing, and he said.
Oh,
that they
Adam
were-
Rank.
Yeah,
did that,
6-11.
So you throw everybody in there together. It's one guy's prediction.
That touchscreen was sick, by the way. I wish we had one of those in here.
Me too. I'd be able.
barely
to,
have working internet
I'd
here.
be able to
Fair.
do the
Yeah,
Coach Titus
y'all get
thing,
greedy
just
now.
draw it
Yeah,
up.
really.
We can't
We have a
even
touchscreen.
use.
Not in the
video
budget.
yet.
Not in the budget.
All right, got a couple more.
Can't
How
even
about-
get decent chairs for Earl and Anthony over there.
How about Brian Hoyer?
He's still playing.
He is still playing. That is-
Classic backup.
He's in Denver. He's with his boy,
That's a good
Josh
guess.
McDee.
That's a good guess, actually.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
Really good guess. I'm gonna say Vegas.
Two good guesses. They might be right.
No, hold on. Josh McDaniel's not in Denver. Sorry,
That's right.
he's in
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah,
Sorry, Vegas is
Yeah.
what I want
He
to
did
say.
not drafting Tim Tebow.
Oh,
anymore.
so you go to Vegas? I might need to change my answer. We was wrong the last time we did that.
By the way,
But I can see it. I can see it right now, though.
Speaking of Brian Hoyer, he was booted out of his job for Johnny Manziel. There was one shot in the Johnny Manziel documentary where you see the 92.3 The Fan, and there's somebody standing behind the table. It's so blurred and so quick. I got to do a Zapruder film. I think it might be me standing there in the background.
The top of my head's in one of the clips.
Those days we were
everywhere.
We were at the field for every practice.
Yeah, I remember y'all was at the field for every training camp.
Every training camp practice. We were there every day. It was so hot.
That was miserable.
It was great and horrible at the same time. Your head's in one of the Texas A&M shots?
Yeah, he was there when he got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Oh.
The very top of my head when they were taking pictures of him and Mike Evans when they're giving a thumbs up.
Yeah.
In the very corner, you see the corner of a blonde spot. That's my hair.
I'm gonna switch my answer.
What's your guess on Brian Hoyer?
The Dolphins.
I'm gonna say,
even though I know that's wrong,
the 49ers.
That's a good guess.
The 49ers signed Sam Darnold. They did not sign Brian Hoyer.
I knew he wasn't there. That's
Brian Hoyer is the perfect backup for the number 3 overall pick this season, C.J. Stroud, or number 2, I guess.
Yeah.
But he is in Houston.
Houston.
Backing up C.J. Stroud. Thomas, that's your boy getting some Cleveland love to start his career.
Listen,
we got 2 more.
2 more.
I tell you that I'm paying attention.
Jabril Peppers.
We've done bad at this.
Jabril Peppers.
He's still checking them out. I mean,
He's
still
retired.
He did not retire. Jabril Peppers.
Jabril Peppers. I was thinking Julius. When he said Jabril Peppers, I'm like, he's talking about Julius Peppers.
Julius Peppers retired. Jabril Peppers
we
is
thought
not.
he was going to be good for a minute.
He was with the Giants.
Was he with the Patriots last year?
I think you're right.
No, he's with the Giants, but I think he signed with the Patriots.
Oh, if he ain't signed with, if he wasn't with the Patriots last year, then
I'm
he
going
definitely with the
Patriots.
Patriots this year.
He was with the Giants. I think he's at the Patriots.
Damn, you guys are good. He is a New England Patriot for the upcoming
Nice job,
season.
Travis.
And last but not least.
Safety, I know him.
Last but not least. Where's Jarvis Landry right now?
He signed.
Free agent.
There's no way he signed.
We wouldn't talk.
I'm about to say he did not sign.
Unless he just signed in the last hour.
He did not sign. No way.
I tried to throw one curveball. Y'all smelt it out.
Yeah.
He is still a free agent.
That was a bad one, Mike, because we would have known.
Well, I had 3 guys that signed in the last 2 days that we had to take off, so I was running out of names. We had Teddy Bridgewater on there. I was going to use him as a fake out.
Yeah.
I had Justin Houston on there. Was going to use him as a fake out, but he just signed with Carolina.
Yeah.
So that was my last-minute replacement. But
who signed with Carolina?
Justin Houston.
Justin Houston.
Oh, Justin
on a
Houston.
really team-friendly deal.
I mean, what other deal would Justin Houston sign for? He's in his mid-30s.
He was productive last year, though.
I know, but like mid-30s defensive line, you could have done shit. Well, Clowney, I guess we would all know.
Oh, my
Clowney.
goodness.
Yeah, I wouldn't fool anyone with Clowney. All right, real quick, before we move on. The one clip of the Johnny Manziel doc that we didn't touch on earlier, and we're going to do the full review tomorrow, was Johnny Manziel saying he watched literally 0 film in his time in Cleveland.
Well, he didn't say that. His agent did, and then he just went
confirmed
this.
it.
0. Yeah.
We have the clip, in case you missed it. Steve, you can take tab where Anthony turns that on. You can play the clip. But this is the little clip from Johnny Manziel saying he did not watch any film.
Their GM's calling me going, he doesn't watch tape. I'm like, well, he's got to watch some tape. It's like, EB, his iPad hours is 0.00.
0.
Their GM's.
And they put him in the game.
and he got serious minutes. He was a factor.
When they put him in the game, like, you could tell he didn't give a shit. I mean, you could tell it the second he was in the game.
Can I say something really quickly? I look back at, because I was one of the biggest Johnny Manziel, like.
You were a believer.
He was doing that.
Oh, man, what you mean? I had the shirts and everything. I was watching Texas A&M games every game, every Saturday watching this dude. When they drafted him, like, he was still on the board. I remember they went up and drafted him. I believe it was 19 or 21?
22.
22.
What draft was this?
2014.
Him and Justin Gilbert, same draft.
Worst picks.
I knew it.
I think what a lot of people saw in Johnny Manziel was kind of like, and don't get salty if you voted for the guy. Okay, I'm just making an analogy. When you look at the phenomenon of Donald Trump, just a celebrity, because people forget he was a celebrity and he was really big on the
Is they building the wall?
That didn't happen. I don't want to see. They now Tyvus want to put down. They gonna say G. Bush said something about the wall.
Don't get it started.
Like, so here's the thing. Yeah. What I was mentioning was basically when he became president. He was president. A lot of people voted for him because they were just so fed up with what came before that. Like it was the anti-move for whatever happened before. So the pendulum just swung, and then people say, well, look, you know what? He may not always, be the most truthfulness. He may not say it the right way, but we like the fact that he's not a politician. So for a lot of people like myself, they say, how could you like Johnny Manziel? We had so many clowns. I mean, the Boy Scouts of America, the Brian Hoyers and the McCoys, and guys that obviously Brady Quinn. These guys were just good old solid, just out there getting beat to sleep. And we just for once was like, can we have an edge? Can we have somebody that does not care and wants to go out here and just unapologetically kick ass and take names? And so when that energy is infectious, but sometimes you don't realize that energy is not the real energy you need. The real energy you need is guys that really want to win at all costs and are doing the things they need to do, not just the attention. So a lot of people like Johnny Manziel, and when you fall for it once, right, you don't fall for it again. And so when I saw Baker Mayfield, I said, oh, no, I'm not falling for this one. Because Baker Mayfield was a Johnny Manziel, but he was sober and wasn't drinking, and he actually did, for what it was worth, he did want to win and he did work hard to a certain extent. But he still never worked as hard as he should have. Like when the comments came out with Baker saying, you know what, I thought it was going to be easy, or I don't need to change my mechanics, or whatever the case may be. I saw some of the same characteristics traits. So for me, like, I was already fooled once with Manziel. He wasn't going to get me again with Mayfield.
What's funny about Manziel, Mike, obviously you weren't here at the time. And with the Manziel thing, I had been on the air 3 years here, and the hype for that draft was just bananas.
It was.
And Dustin was like you. He wanted Manziel. He was at it. And I was like, no, I don't want him. And then like a week before the draft, I was like, I felt like I had gotten worn down by everybody. And I was just like, all right, this would be exciting if they drafted
right.
him. So let's go. So like with a week to go. And then like the second he got drafted, and then he ended up on the Swan. And any time here, a lot of fans won't admit this now, but from the second he started goofing off, not studying, doing all this crap, I was criticizing him, and people were getting mad at me. Let him have his fun.
Yeah,
he had no interest in football.
It became so evident. Like, and then we were like looking at Josh Gordon, who was like had a crazy year with these backups, and then then Mike Patton as a coach, you could look at Mike Patton and be like, he wants no part of this.
None.
I don't understand.
None.
Zero.
They totally destroyed any chance he had because you could argue that before they forced Johnny on him. Now the team was starting to crater because Hoyer was starting to struggle.
Yeah.
But before that, when they were 7-5, that Browns team. And that team had no business being 7-5.
I remember they were 7-4, and they remember.
You're right, 7-4, not 7-5.
And they said, "Can you believe the Cleveland Browns are in first place going into November?"
I know.
They had just beat the Bengals on the road.
That's right.
And we were like, "Wow!" And then Kyle Shanahan was like, he was moving mountains with these no-name backs.
Yeah.
They was running his offense.
Kind of what he's doing
Isaiah
now.
Crowell?
Isaiah Crowell,
And,
Terrence West.
West, right.
Montario Hardesty.
Ben Tate.
I don't know if Hardesty was there that
Ben
year.
Tate.
I can't remember.
Man.
No, Hardesty came.
The only good player they had was Josh Gordon.
That's it.
And he had a great year that year.
Yep.
But they were. I remember getting on the air when they beat the Bengals the next day, and I was like, "The Browns are going to the playoffs."
Yep.
Mark it down.
And jinxed them. They ain't win another game.
I mean, so Mike Patton had, to that point, had considering how little talent that team
Zero.
had, he had done a great job, I thought.
And if there's any coach that gets a little bit of a reprieve during that era, it was Mike Patton because he would. But
Romeo Crennel.
But some
went 10-6.
Nah,
But Romeo
had
4
talent.
years, right?
Romeo had some
talent.
talent. Like
he had
10-6.
He had better talent, though.
I mean,
that 2014 Browns team had no talent.
Zero. None.
Let
me go look at it.
Remember, Josh Gordon was suspended. He didn't even play to the Falcons game.
Right.
So
he had 1,700 yards in 14 games.
So he was suspended.
So Joel Bitonio wasn't there?
He was a rookie.
Jordan Cameron wasn't there?
He was just a guy.
Miles Austin.
Oh, Lord.
Gary Barnett.
This is the most disgusting cast of offensive playmakers.
I told you.
Gary Barnett, Travis
cannot believe
Benjamin.
That they were 7-4 with that team.
Look at that now.
Isaiah
Terrence West, Isaiah Crowell, Taylor Gabriel, Andrew
Carlos
Hawkins, Travis Benjamin,
Dansby.
Miles Austin.
Tashawn Gibson.
We love
John Greco, Joe Hayden, Andrew Hawkins, Brian Hoyer, Christian Kirksey.
Trash.
They had
Paul Kruger.
He sucked here.
Jimmy Leonard, Alex Mack.
Okay, they had a great center, right? Alex Mack was great.
And that's
obviously they had Joe Tom. The offensive line was good.
Jordan Poyer.
You had Joe Hayden and Gibson in the
Big Rube was here.
And Josh Gordon. That was it.
Big Rube was here.
They scored 32 touchdowns in 16 games.
Big Rube at D tackle. Mitchell Schwartz at offensive
tackle. They had a good offensive line.
Jabbar Sheard.
Oh, my God.
Big Phil. Taylor, Joe Thomas, Dante Whitner, boy KK was here.
Terrence West was their leading rusher with 673 yards.
Boy,
my boy KY was here. Ben Tate at 330.
Boy,
dude, a lot of those defensive players you're naming were past their prime. Paul Kruger sucked here.
It was terrible.
Johnson Batamosi was here on the special teams side.
Batamosi?
I remember him.
Don't do that because Batamosi was like that on special teams.
On special teams,
yeah, on
right.
special teams.
They had Joe Hayden was their one star on defense,
and he was
Josh Gordon on offense and a good offensive line.
And Joe Hayden.
Besides that, they sucked.
Joe Hayden was known to get victimized. We'd be like, "Where's Joe?"
Big Rube.
Joe Hayden. I love
Joe. Listen, now back to Johnny Manziel. This is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
How do you think you gonna be successful in the NFL football period if you don't watch tape? I don't understand
because he didn't care if you watch.
But it's like a lot of people do this. I don't understand why people don't watch tape. Like you literally they're giving you the answers to the test. Like to me, I look at it like school. A lot of people ain't good in school, but if you apply it in the school way, you study Monday through Saturday. Sunday, all it is to see if you study if you study for the test. Like they literally giving you the answers.
Even in college, he didn't prepare like a normal player.
He didn't have to.
College, he didn't have to.
You have natural talent.
But
and stuff
once
like
you
that.
watch the documentary, you'll understand he didn't give a shit.
And we'll do a full review of the doc tomorrow. G. Bush, your homework tonight is to watch the documentary. Earl's finished it. I've finished it. Bull has finished it.
It's 1 hour.
It is up to you to finish it. It's 71 minutes. And that is it.
Are you one of the people that are mad that they didn't talk more about the Browns?
No, I think that was Grossy.
I know
Grossy's being ridiculous about it. That is mad the Browns weren't referenced more in the doc?
No, I was more concerned about the actual subject.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Grossy made a big thing about there wasn't more Browns or why didn't they mention Ray Farmer. The documentary wasn't about that.
It's not about that, dog. It
wasn't a Brown. It wasn't a what happened with the Browns and Johnny Manziel. It's about his life.
And you got to think about it. Like going back then, people always try to say that the Browns were divided because of Baker. Bro, we've been divided for years. I mean, we've been on just opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm old enough to remember there were people in this town who said Bernie got to go.
That's pretty me.
I remember
Bernie gotta go.
When you go, I had to go back and watch. I done watched all of the Browns games from '86. So I started watching in '86. And by the way, there are people on TV who said Bernie was a walking Hall of Famer.
He was.
Like they were saying that like it's unorthodox, but he gonna be on unorthodox right into Canton. And it hit me because the Browns was actually that squad in the 80s. Like people don't realize that they were the deal.
Even alive in the 80s.
They was like the team how you talk about not Kansas City because obviously Kansas City has won, but if you in today's climate, they're talking about them and right up in that era where they one of the best teams in the league.
That was the only time really ever that the Browns and Bengals were good at the same time.
Same time.
Right? Because Boomer and Bernie had such great
going back and forth, and even the quarterback before
Ken Anderson.
They were good back then.
Right, yeah, that's true.
And it's so crazy because during that time the Steelers was trash.
You know what?
Right.
The Steelers was bad. And then you had the Houston Oilers in there, but it's weird because I'm going back to look at it because I'm trying to gauge today what the energy would be like if the Browns was really good. If they were good.
Hopefully we find out this year.
Hopefully that's what we're looking for.
But to get to that level of good, you got to win a couple of years in a row.
Yeah. So 86 to about 91.
Yeah, they were consistently very good. Super Bowl contender.
And rosters back then didn't turn over like that.
Right, that's true.
Man, I would love
Go
to
ahead,
see
Mike.
what that's like.
I got to get a fast reading here. We're going to do a full recap and review of the full Johnny football documentary tomorrow on the show. It'll be me, G, and Bull. Earl's in the producer chair. We will get to that. But I got a PCC read for you guys, and with an answer that's a bit surprising in my mind. But whenever we ask the YouTube poll a question, it's brought to us by our dear friends over at PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. I asked the YouTube chat, just simple question. Are you excited for the Johnny football doc, to watch it, to talk about it? What do you think the answer is?
50-50.
I think 40, no, probably 39% people say yes, and the rest, no.
Wait, this is Cleveland people, right?
It's Cleveland Cats.
No, they don't care.
They don't 39. Care. They don't care. Maybe 39% say they do.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 80-20.
Tyvis, just 18% said yes, 82% said no.
Ooh, I was close. I was close.
Dang.
I'm shocked by that.
So fascinating.
Because it doesn't matter now.
Those people are full of shit. I don't believe them.
It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter now. No, it shows you to some degree how incompetent Browns ownership is.
It makes you.
Who wanted him?
The homeless guy.
So Jimmy made, because it wasn't Jimmy
The
was the
homeless
only
guy stuff is nonsense.
Jimmy
everybody didn't want him, but Jimmy made the call to get him.
Who
right?
knows for sure?
Because
I'm pretty sure Ray Farmer didn't want him. Although Ray Farmer supposedly called down and forced Mike Pettin to put him in. But my guess is that Jimmy forced him to do that. That's my guess.
I wonder who leaks all this information.
So we got to get two things in here, and this
real
one.
Quick, I just got to say something.
Shoot.
So there's a newspaper on the west side, if you live on the west side, called, you could get it on the east side, I'm sure, too. It's called Westlife. My wife wrote an article, a column, for this week's edition of Westlife about Rocky River Little League, the experience in the World Series. Unfortunately, the person that writes the headline screwed up the headline and left out a word, so the headline doesn't make sense, but it's a really good article. So if you get Westlife, or if you happen to be in a supermarket, you see it, pick it up, and my wife did a great job writing the article. So there you go.
Awesome. Check it out. Cannot wait to see that. Yeah. With Tyvis here, another thing that we needed Tyvis to do, but I'm very curious. The NFL did their top 100 rankings, player rankings. It's player voted on. And who cares about the actual rankings? Mahomes was first. They had Jalen Hurts third, ahead of Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, which is kind of absurd. Joel Bitonio was not on the list. Players who you have no business being ahead of Joel Bitonio. Two examples real quick, Geno Smith and Jamal Williams. Neither of those two are better football players than Joel Bitonio.
In fairness to the players,
they know quarterbacks and running backs better.
No. They're asked to do this right now, and those guys both had great years last year. Now, Bitonio did too, but it sounds worse because if you look at the careers of Geno and who else?
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams and Geno had particularly excellent years last year.
Yeah, so it's kind of
that factors in.
Well, and it's alignment. It's hard.
But he got in last year, Bitonio.
He was in last year, and Bitonio had a really good year too. According to PFF, he was one of the highest rated graded guards. So my question for Tyvis, and then G, and we'll all chime in here, but I really want to ask Tyvis this. Is there a way that the media looks at players and a way that players look at other players, and how wide is that gap, or why is it so different from what we think we see to what they actually see?
It's not as wide as, people would think. Obviously the media does a good job of pointing out highlights, but from a player's perspective, you get to go up against these guys all the time. So you honestly know what it is. So, for example, like a wide receiver, like if a DB tells you that this wide receiver is really, really good, maybe he might not have the stats because there's a lot of things that go into it. Maybe he was wide open on the play, but the quarterback got sacked. Stuff like that happens. So I always am going to listen to the players a little bit more than I'm going to listen to the media because those guys are going up against these guys. And it's a lot of things that factor into it. Like Joel Bitonio, if he's not on it, maybe it's because – I'm not 100% how they calculating this up. But, like, you can't ask a DB. You can't ask a safety or a corner.
The thing. Like
how you going to ask me about a guard? I have no idea. I'm not paying attention to no guard.
I feel like many, not all, but I feel like media members are more likely to answer, do more thorough job of answering the question. Whereas I think players are more likely to do it off the top of their head.
Yeah.
I think players, now, if we talk about football, the most two delusional groups of people is DBs and receivers.
What is that supposed to be?
They're delusional.
What is that supposed to be? No. Elaborate. What is with this disrespect today?
They're delusional.
What's wrong with these guys?
This is fair. This is fair game. Every receiver feels they're open on every play.
What they got to? Okay,
that's delusional.
That's not true. No,
you were not open. You was getting locked up.
That's not true.
Throw it up there, though. You was getting locked up. You was blanketed. We're not throwing that ball up there. Trust me.
Is it receivers like that? Yes. Are all of them like that? No.
I can name you 10 right now.
I'm sure you can.
Brandon Marshall said he should be in the Hall of Fame. Stop it, Brandon Marshall. Quit it.
Isn't he up for next year?
He's nowhere near sniffing that.
He got the most.
He's up to be eligible. He's not nominated.
That boy ain't going nowhere near that.
He got the most catches in a single game.
And y'all do this. Y'all like people that got the same agent too. Y'all be loving that. Y'all be like, I got the same agent. I got the same agent as my man's. We wear the same shoes, and then we about to be on. Listen, y'all got handshakes and stuff.
Let's talk about the top 100.
All right. Okay?
So, on what planet is Jalen Hurts better than Joe Burrow?
None.
Let me talk about the top 100.
They're delusional, bro. They just like he wear Jordan spikes.
So
he got the patent leather joints on, so he number 2.
So when you do the top 100, so I'm in the
have you voted on this before?
Yeah, they make you vote on it.
When Tyvus be knowing, look at him smiling. He know I'm right, bro.
No, can I
tell
my story?
Get your money on Tyvus. There you go.
So when they ask you to do the top 100, right? Mm-hmm. People don't really take it seriously because it's like you can vote for whoever you want. So for me, when I voted, I always voted for my teammates and people that I played with in college.
You just said the players list is going to be better than the media. The media's not going to do that.
Listen, that's what I did. Everybody don't do what I did. I mean, I'm looking out for my guys. You know?
They got their guys.
If you ask, I'm not talking about the list. I'm saying if you ask a player his experience against that player, or you be like, so for example, if you ask Darius Slay, who is the best wide receivers in the league? His answers might be different than what the media portrays as the top 5.
Fair. But
that's what I'm saying.
If Darius Slay answered off the top of his head versus let me go think about this for 2 hours and really figure it out. I mean, he might have a different answer.
He might, yeah, for sure.
Because off the top of your head, you might forget about somebody, you know. And so I think that's
what I mean. Story. Yeah, you get one day.
Guys play. Think about this. Like a lot of times, if you ask a baseball player, "Oh, who's the best pitcher you ever faced?" A lot of hitters will say some random pitcher because he struggled against that guy.
Exactly.
And he did well against some other superstars.
Exactly.
So, but that doesn't make the guy the best. He was just the best against you.
Hey, then he not that good to me.
That's what I'm saying. In the end, media members are biased too. They like a guy, so they're going to vote him higher. They don't like a guy. I think, this is just good fodder. It's not like it's a terrible list. Of course there are going to be mistakes. And when we scream about the mistakes, we're biased too.
Wait, what list is this? Is this the top 100 list?
This is the players list.
The top 100.
So Darius Smith is not a better football player than
like the one that just came, like the one that the NFL do every year, the top 100?
What was the top 10, by the way, Mikey?
The one that Patty Mahomes won?
Mahomes was number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2 was...
The players even said this list was terrible. I seen
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson.
That's
Jalen Hurts 3, Nick Bosa 4, Travis Kelce 5, Joe Burrow 6, Tyreek Hill 7, Josh Allen 8, Micah Parsons 9, and Chris Jones 10.
I got a. You know what? I
mean, it ain't terrible.
No, it's not terrible.
You know what I got a. I just.
What your issue? The Jalen Hurts thing?
11 through 20 is worse for the record.
It's bad, man.
I'm about to say the players was on Twitter talking about this list is horrible.
It's just tough, bro.
I'm telling you how people get boosted. They literally encourage you to vote for your teammates.
So you shouldn't be able to vote for your teammates.
And I know. Listen, here's my problem. They got Justin Jefferson up there because he do that stupid little dance all the time.
No, Justin Jefferson is up there because he caught 1,800 yards last year.
But listen, here's what I'm asking. I like Justin Jefferson.
Jay Jettis is the best non-quarterback offensive weapon. Stop it.
I don't think, to me, if I had to pick, I'm not taking him over Jamar Chase.
Why? Because Jamar Chase can catch a screen?
No, because Jamar Chase, he can catch the rock and be gone.
Jay Jettis catches.
I feel like we could tackle Justin Jefferson.
You can tackle Jamar Chase.
I feel like if you, I'd be hard pressed if you say Tyreek Hill.
Jamar Chase was 39 on the list, by the way.
That's crazy.
He got hurt. He was hurt.
He missed some
time. He was hurt.
Hey,
if you said Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson, I would literally have to be like, well, listen, Tyreek Hill's running away from everybody.
Justin Jefferson is he made a one-hand catch.
I like them
in coverage. Game on the line.
I like him.
Win a game.
I love his.
He caught 1,800 yards last year. I
got no
really
problem with Jefferson being higher than Jamar Chase.
In fantasy drafts this year,
he's going one.
He's going one.
Yeah. Unless it's a 2-quarterback league. Mikey, how many players from the AFC North total? Do you know?
Yeah, I actually do. Steve, take 180. So the Ravens led the AFC North with 4 players on the list.
Funny.
Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh all had 3 players in the top 100. So that's 9 plus 13 total.
The Bengals' third player was Higgins?
Higgins.
You don't like that?
No, he's a top 100 player, certainly. I would argue that the Bengals have a couple of lower-tier top 100 players on their defense, but their defense gets no respect. That's fine.
I always, somebody said, who's the basketball player?
I lied. Hold on. I lied. T. Higgins not top 100. Trey Hendrickson was their other one at 75.
Okay, yeah, I was surprised he wasn't on it. Now I'm surprised that T. Higgins is not a top. How many wide receivers are on the list?
Ooh, you got to give me a sec to count that.
How many safeties is on
Can we sort them by receiver? I think they got the receivers.
And the Browns
all
have
wrong.
3. We know that. No.
It ain't one corner top 10. Man, I tell you what.
Who would be top 10?
Sauce Gardner didn't give up a touchdown last year, I don't think.
He's pretty high considering he's a rookie. He was in the top 20, I think.
We'll find out this year.
He was ahead of Nick Chubb.
Was he?
Yes.
So he was the first corner then?
I'm not sure, but I think so.
You want me to just read the list real quick?
11 to 20? What's 11 to 20?
Just tell me who the first corner is.
It sorts it by 10.
All right, go ahead.
11 through 20, Aaron Donald, 11, Josh Jacobs, 12, Devontae Adams, 13, Trent Williams, 14. He should be way higher. Fred Warner, 15, Stephon Diggs, 16, Max Crosby, 17, Fitzpatrick, 18, George Kittle, 19, Miles Garrett,
you said Fitz who?
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Get up out of here.
What?
Top 20 guy. You stop with it. Stop.
Then you got Austin Eckler, 21, A.J. Brown, 22, Sauce Gardner, the first cornerback on the list at 23.
Man, we got to do better, man.
Now, it's not fair because of age, but I would definitely take Sauce Gardner over Minka Fitzpatrick if I had to.
Heck yeah. Give me that. Listen, come on.
That's tough. Minka plays pretty much everything in the secondary, and he's fixated.
He's not
on
Ed
safety.
Reed. He's not Palomalu.
He gets picks.
Yeah, but he doesn't play. When Troy Polamalu played, the Steelers were great, and when he didn't, they weren't great.
Hey, them dudes back there,
He's not their most important player on their defense.
Yeah, T.J. Watt is.
Yeah.
That's his fault.
Well, when the Steelers, with Troy Polamalu,
by the way,
so if T.J. Watt played with Troy Polamalu, it wouldn't be the same thing. Stop it.
I think
stop it. You need to cut that out.
I think Cam Hayward is a Hall of Famer.
He is. Go Bucks.
It's so hard with defensive tackles.
But he just
put the camera. Steve, first ballot Hall of Famer, Cam Hayward. Go Bucks.
You dirtbag.
If there was a special teams Hall of Fame, Tyvis, a specific special teams Hall of Fame, would you and I be in it?
If it was a special teams Hall of Fame,
yeah, you and I, maybe just you.
No,
I made some time. Listen,
No
I got some reps. I got some reps on gunner.
The only Hall of Famers on special teams is Devin Hester, Josh Cribbs, Steve Tasker,
Matthew Slater,
Cribbs is not in the Hall of Fame.
Nate Abner.
But if you talk about if
there was
special teams,
special teams Hall of Fame,
Josh
Justin
Cribbs,
Tucker, Phil Dawson,
Sebastian Janikowski,
Tyvis Powell,
Dante Hall.
good one.
Yep, good one, Earl, good one.
Is Dawson an all-time great kicker?
No.
I don't know
He's
about
really
that.
good. I don't think he's all-time great. Great
One of
guess,
the
though.
Andersons, Morton or Gary.
Morton.
Probably.
Obviously, Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more thing we're going to do. Then we're
Did
going to
you
wrap
figure out
up
the wide
here.
receivers or no?
I have to do a deeper search into the actual numbers, but there's a lot of receivers. Tonight, about 7:30, Earl and I have to finalize the time, but we're going to do the Behind the Glass podcast tonight. That'll be this afternoon, later tonight. Earl, myself, diving into some topics that we didn't touch today, a little preview tomorrow, a little recap of some other stuff we've hit on, so make sure you guys tune in tonight for the most recent edition of Behind the Glass. All right, we have 10 minutes, guys. We got to spend 5 wishing Anthony happy birthday.
Yeah.
We have 5 before that, though, to talk about Colin Cowherd and that mishap yesterday. Or do we just want to skip that completely?
I don't know. You guys care about that?
Here's
What was he trying to be funny? Like, what was he trying to do?
I think they set him up for the whoop.
I think his production team did him dirty.
Here's the thing. It was going crazy on Twitter or whatever. I didn't say much about it. I didn't say nothing at all because, heck, I've made slips on the radio where you say something or radio or television you don't know, and you be like, "Oh, I totally wasn't even thinking about that."
It was,
like for him, it was. They put a list of quarterbacks up,
That's it.
and basically he just read the list of quarterbacks that weren't going to.
But it said, it said that Can win the Super Bowl. He said that Can. It was just.
I think he was just.
But he also had an EJ manual on it. How long, it's been years.
So here's what I think happened, and I don't know for a fact. I think they went back and said, Colin, look at the quarterbacks drafted since whatever year it was.
Right.
Which ones can, like, put the ones that you think
that's just
can.
a piss poor job by them.
Well, so hold on.
Yeah.
So I think he was like, I think these 3 can, these 4, and the maybes, everyone else, no. The graphics team then put together a graphic, and they screwed up the graphic because it should say can't win a Super Bowl.
Right.
It said can win a Super Bowl.
Gosh.
And Haskins was included in that list,
Yeah.
and then when it popped up on the screen, you know when you see a graphic,
He
you just
needs
kind
to
of
fire
read
some
stuff
people.
real quick.
That made him look bad. He looked like an idiot with the Shohei Ohtani stuff.
He needs a brand new entire production.
My
staff.
God, I don't know what happened. But, like, what do people want? Do they want him to get fired because of this?
I saw people calling for his job, which I thought was
give me
a
a
little
break.
absurd. But.
Give me a break.
I think he suffered enough because he looked dumb. It looked real dumb.
There's nothing
fired
worse than
because of
looking
that.
dumb for a national audience.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Bull, I just got an email from Yahoo Sports Fantasy Football. You need to set a draft time.
I know. I was thinking about switching us to a different website because Yahoo sucks.
We go to ESPN.
Bull,
Nah, they suck too. CBS, there's some new ones. I'm going to look
why
into
don't you just do the NFL one?
Nah.
I got an NFL one. I got the ESPN
I like Yahoo.
one.
Yes.
Yahoo's for amateurs. We got to step it up.
Are we doing 2 quarterbacks again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, too cool. I like that now.
And we're doing more cashola this year, too.
Yes, sir.
Doing what?
Wait, we're doing
More
what?
bread. you got the bag. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, wait, I missed this. What are we
When
doing?
does
We're doing one bill this year.
When is it coming in? When do I need to have it in by?
When that boatload coming in.
What?
I just wasn't here. This is all
Doing
new to me.
$1,000 each?
1,000?
No, I'm kidding.
I was about to say, woo! Listen, I'm about to go get some books.
I
literally can't do worse than I was there.
Hey, if you did, if it was 1,000,
I paid $250 for it.
would you have to ask your wife about that 1,000?
No.
Nope.
You just gonna do it?
Yeah.
It's just how it's moving. What about you,
I
McNuggets?
would tell my wife because I communicate with her.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not in the business of asking permission.
Hey, so, McNuggets, do you have to ask for permission
I
yet?
agree with that statement.
No,
Do I? Hell no.
no, they don't share a bank account. It's just
That's
his
my money.
girlfriend.
Hey, yeah,
You?
married, you
I
just
got,
bought a
I got all kind of bank accounts.
I tell my wife whenever I spend a significant amount of money.
Oh yeah, well
But
she knows
Just
like
because we always share that type of stuff. But
yeah. I'm like, babe, you gonna have to work harder. I need to get this money up.
Let's go.
All right, speaking of working harder, Anthony, as soon as the show's over, is heading out of here. He's going to Nickelback tonight. It is his birthday today.
That's your birthday present.
Look at
Nickelback,
this photograph.
Anthony, that's what you're excited. Did your girlfriend buy
Every
tickets
time
for
I
you?
see him, makes
No,
me
actually, my
laugh.
mom bought the tickets for me and my girlfriend.
Wow. Okay.
So we have a
Anthony's officially off the parents' insurance.
Yep, big time.
He's a big boy
26.
now.
Top 5 Nickelback
Happy
songs.
birthday.
So
Top
we
5.
have, in honor of Anthony's birthday,
Yeah.
we have 5 things in an honorable mention that I don't think the common folk know about Anthony that I would like for them to know.
Do you think we'll know it?
I think you guys will know most of it.
Yeah.
But I think this is more for the people out there that don't
All right.
know.
I like this.
And we're going to get live reaction from Anthony after each one.
He should have did.
All right, first and foremost, this is an honorable mention. Anthony's driveway is super weirdly shaped. And it's so weirdly shaped that
what?
it's a very weirdly shaped driveway / yard. And when his girlfriend drove up in January, she tried to make a K-turn. The car got stuck. He called us all in. There was like 17 of us trying to push his girlfriend's car out of the mud in his driveway because it's a weirdly shaped driveway. Anthony?
So the owner before my parents had, I think, a boat, and they cemented off half the driveway. It's a really weird L shape with a narrow driveway because our houses are on top of each other in Parma.
All right, first of all, it's inappropriate to say it's his because it ain't his. It's his parents.
The Antonelli household has a very odd driveway.
And he called you in from where? Where were you that he called you in from?
In my apartment.
Yeah, I called like 7
people. I drove
people.
out to Parma, and the entire Cantaspelli crew was out there.
Oh, he know good and well that ain't going through.
You didn't call us, Anthony, huh?
You know that.
Well, let's see. Tyvus lives 2 hours away.
Yep. Don't even think about it.
I worry about your neck sometimes.
I would have sent AAA over.
See, that's the hard part about my driveway. We couldn't get a tow truck
AAA can't
back
get
there.
in. Can't get in.
My God.
If we could have gotten a tow truck back there, it would have been real easy.
All right, you should have waited till summer, but go ahead.
All right, so here's the top 5. First off, he does broadcast it kind of, doesn't always. Anthony's a Broncos fan.
Oh, yeah, that we knew.
I knew that. Let's
He grew up
ride.
Peyton Manning, isn't that the reason?
Ty is his favorite player.
Let's
No,
ride.
I just have aunts and
Why do
uncles
you
that live
think I
out
have
there,
this
and I
vendetta
picked them over
against
the
this
Browns when I was
man? I
younger.
don't. Listen,
number
Russell
4.
Wilson is a great guy. He got me 2
Do you believe he was a virgin before he got married? Do you really believe that?
No.
Okay.
All right, number 4.
Tim Tebow was a virgin before he got married, wasn't he?
That's what they said.
Is he married?
He is married.
he's married now.
I believe him. He's the only one I believe.
Is it because he's Caucasian?
Yeah.
Here's
Wow.
the funny thing.
Look.
No, it's funny that you say that.
A lot of questions, Bull. A lot of questions.
I'm glad you brought that up.
You're not denying it.
No, it has nothing to do with that, but I'm glad he brought that up. Because for years I hated Tim Tebow and thought he was the biggest phony on the face of the earth.
Then you remember he's Caucasian.
And honestly,
Shut up, man.
and honestly, I'm going to be totally honest. This is going to make me look bad, but I keep it real. I was rooting for news to break about him being a phony. Like that something inappropriate happened with him. I was rooting for it. I'm not going to lie.
You wanted to be like, I knew it.
And then at some point I just was like,
He really is. Who
this
he
guy
said?
really is a Boy Scout. He can't play
He's
football
a
to save
Boy
his life.
Yeah, he really is. He came
Now,
to.
being a Boy Scout is creepy. The Boy Scouts are creepy. But, you know.
He's a good dude. All right, number 4 on the things you may not know about
But no, it
Anthony,
had
but
nothing
you
to
should
do
know
with him
about
being
Anthony
white.
on his 26th birthday.
Go ahead.
Outside of coming to work every day,
Yeah.
Anthony has never left Parma, and he never plans on leaving Parma. He will be born in Parma. He will die in Parma. Anthony Antonelli, Parma for life.
That's not necessarily true.
I'm certainly not going to be in Columbus this weekend, apparently.
You know what, Anthony? You shouldn't. When I was your age, or maybe a little younger, 22, 23, I would have never thought I would have moved out of Brooklyn. Never.
Oh, Bull, I'm moving out of Parma the second I get. Don't worry. This is a joke.
Oh, that's a joke, that one.
Oh, 100% a joke.
Yeah.
Anthony hates Parma.
Yeah, no, I'm
You
getting
hate
out as
Parma,
soon as I
that's pretty
can.
strong.
Anthony would. I shouldn't say that.
They
never
used to
mind.
be prejudiced.
Okay, number 3. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Anthony had open heart surgery.
What?
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that.
I did
I
not
don't
know
think I
that.
knew that.
He was
did
playing
not know
sports.
that.
He got kicked so hard in the chest with a soccer ball, right?
No, I was actually born with 4 holes in my heart. 3 of them closed up. 1 was left, and they had to sew it up.
That's scary.
Yeah, so Anthony, open heart surgery survivor.
Wow. Did
See,
you,
look,
how
you
did-
learned a little something new, Bull.
How did you know you had holes? Did they know from the time you were a baby?
I would have to ask my mom, but I think so. I mean, I got the surgery when I was 7, so I don't remember
Did
much
something
of it.
happen, or they just was there an event that happened that led to the surgery, or was it just something you were going to have to do at some point in your life?
So the one that they had to close up was taking my aortic valve and sucking it in, so my heart was closing in on itself.
Oh my God! That's
if I understand that correctly.
Man,
and you're totally fine
I had
now?
chest pains growing up a lot.
We got 1 minute left, so we
we're
got
out
to
of
get to the
time.
last
All
two.
right, sorry, that was good. Well,
Number
Brady's
2,
okay.
Anthony was the world's best goalie in soccer in high school. He led his conference in saves.
How come you didn't play in college?
We knew that.
Because I kept getting hurt, so I just gave it up, honestly.
Open heart
I play
surgery,
like
college athletics
rec
is
leagues
tough.
now.
Yeah, we knew he was
And number
good at
1,
soccer.
we got to get to it real quick. Number 1, Anthony's mom makes the
nice
best
shot.
cookies I've ever had
Facts.
in my entire
That
life.
is true.
That
She
is
makes
true.
great
Absolutely
cookies.
phenomenal cookies.
Bad
I hope
job
you
out
make
of
some
you,
birthday
Anthony.
cookies.
It's a
Happy
little
birthday,
creepy
Anthony.
to call her Miss
You are
Anthony,
26
but-
years old. You deserve it.
Miss
And
Anthony.
we-
Happy birthday!
I would have.
We'll see you on overtime.
I would have definitely been using that heart condition to get girls.
That's sad.
That's good work. Happy
Anthony,
birthday,
send us to overtime.
We're going to overtime, guys, and I have something for G after the show. What is overtime today?
Peace.
What is overtime? Gene Smith, ain't it?